Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Live!
Hey, everybody, what is up? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome to Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host, Rockin Robbie. We are gathered here after Robbie Week on Mother's Day to talk about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. I've had a great week and an even better weekend. I hope you've had a great week as well. We're going to be talking about Robbie Week and all of that jazz. We're also going to be delivering the DC sneak peek tonight. That's right, DC's got books out this week. I've read them, and I'm going to let you know what I thought about them. Also, we're going to have Marvel in the 90s tonight, and the most triumphant return of Batman, all of that and more here tonight on Rockin' Robbie Live, though it may seem we have a grandiose plan. This show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns, so get them in right now. What do you want to chat about? Any questions, any thoughts? Let's get it out in the chat. Once you pop up into the room, throw out a station, maybe even a pop, boom, just to let everybody know that you're here, including me, because one of my favorite things to do is to come here on Sunday nights to have this show and deliver these fun little bits, but in particular, to have a conversation with you about our shared love of pop culture. So, we got a great one planned tonight, like I've already been talking about, a little bit of show and tell as well. I'll be showing off the birthday haul. That's right, I'm 43 now. I'm 43 years old. So anyway, we appreciate you all being here. I do want to say that you can follow me on Twitter or X at The Rockin' Robbie. You can follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you might as well join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can find podcasts and more over at popculturephilosophers.com. Links to merch and all that stuff on the website as well as in the description below. We appreciate you all being here. If you want to support the channel, you can drop a super chat. Or, of course, you can join us over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there. In fact, there's a special bonus coming up for Patreon subscribers that we'll be getting to here in just a moment. Coming up here on the channel and live appearances, I guess, for the week, tomorrow night, We'll be talking about Risky Business on PCP Movie Night, part of Crew's Choice. This was Brooks's pick of a Tom Cruise movie, Risky Business. I had not seen this movie since I was a child and way too young to watch it, and it was definitely interesting to rewatch this week. I had a lot of fun with it, so it's going to be a great conversation tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night. Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, I will be making a return over to Blood Splatter Chatter to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Verno's channel, Blood Splatter Chatter, with a horror trivia night. And I would try to be like, they better pray that they can hold their own against the Rockin Robbie. But I want to be a little bit humble. I mentioned a special bonus for Patreon supporters. Well, there's a Patreon watch party May 22nd, 8 p.m. Central Time on the patreon.com/PCP site. We're going to be watching The Crow. I'm actually going to be watching it on VHS, so I invite you to join me that night and watch along. That's going to be available to every Patreon supporter at all levels. We initially were going to do it at the $5 level and over, and maybe we will in the future get back to that. However, for this first one, it's going to be open to every Patreon subscriber, and you can start with as little as $1 a month. All right, everybody, here's to you. I'm drinking a Rockin Robbie Tom Collins because it's been a little warm, and it's a nice, refreshing, crisp drink. All right, we now pause for station identification. Get your topics of conversation out there in the chat. All right, let's see who's up in the building. We got the artist formerly known as Jesse Say What in the house. How you doing, my man? GT Key Comic is in the house. Chill out, man. Station, you beautiful motherfuckers. Happy Mother's Day. Absolutely. Sticky Ricky says Happy Mom's Day. Station. Patrick's Garage 94. Let's go. Let's go. Hope everyone is having a fantastic night. James is here. Station to the PCP Nation. Let's go. Eddie with the station. We got Jim in the house. We got William. We got the name changes. Hola. We got Kenneth in the house. What is up? Yeah, 43 years young, right? Yeah. 43 years young. Mad Bomber says, Station Robbie, I turned 43 back in March. Well, now I'm right there along with you. No, I feel great though. I don't feel old. We make jokes all the time about being old and shit like that. But for the most part, they're just jokes. I feel just as young as I've ever felt. In fact, even better, because it's like when you're young, you got your youth, but you don't have agency. You don't have your own place. You can't do your own things. When I was a kid, when I was young, I couldn't stream online and things like that, talk about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more on Sunday nights with you here on Rockin Robbie Live. So it's very exciting, this world we live in. But yeah, I feel great. Name Changes says, gonna turn 38 this year, man. It's all downhill from here. And I mean that meaning it's easy going. It's all good, right? Thank you, Eddie. Frank Frog says, happy birthday, Robbie. Turn it up for your birthday. I did. My birthday was on Friday. Robbie week is over. Robbie week ended Friday. It's over. So, but I appreciate the belated birthday gifts. Plus, I do got Tom Collins here. Man, I hadn't made Tom Collins in so long, but it was one of the things we did for Robbie week. And it brought it all back to me. And I've been trying to re-perfect my recipe, because the first time I made it in years was Wednesday night, and everybody's been hearing about how great my Tom Collinses are, and man, those first ones were rough. The second one was really rough. The second one was so fucking strong. Hey, what's up, John? That's my real name, Smith. What's up, Robbie? Just got back from Vegas. What's going on? Well, just chilling. Talking about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We got 62 Lefty Blues up in the house. What is up? Alistair, I renounce my wish. We got Rogue Collecting in the house. William with an R.I.P. Roger Corman. That's right. Found out yesterday Roger Corman passed away at a healthy age of 98. So we can't feel too bad. Dude had a long life. Dude made a lot of money. Got to make movies. Got to do what he wanted, basically. Roger Corman is a legendary figure in the filmmaking industry. He is top-notch and Humanoids from the Deep is a personal favorite of mine. One of the movies that he produced. I don't think he directed that. He just produced it. He produced the Slumber Party Massacre franchise, including Part 2, which is my favorite of the Slumber Party Massacres. Movie that he did The Terror. He did the original Little Shop of Horrors. He produced Piranha, gave so many great directors their first starts. People like, I think Francis Ford Coppola was one of them. Joe Dante was definitely one of them. So, yeah. 62 Lefty Blue says, test your VHS machine with the tape you don't care about in case it eats it. Yes. Been there, done that. It does work. So, I don't remember what video I put in there, but it was something I had 2 of. I think it was E.T. Because I think I got 3 copies of E.T. on VHS. William says, old, what the fuck? I'm over 55. None of us are old. We're all young. 62 Lefty Blue says, I turned 62 2 weeks ago. Really? No way. Well, now you truly live up to your name. Stinky Ricky says, is that whiskey and lemonade? No, it's a Tom Collins. It's a Tom Collins. So this is how I make my Tom Collins. Gin, like dry gin, lemon juice, a little bit of simple syrup, and then club soda on ice, stir it, navel orange slice, maraschino cherries, and I like to drizzle a little bit of the cherry juice in there because it makes a really pretty drink. You go to a bar, you order a Tom Collins, most of the time, you're going to get something that tastes like gin and lemonade. They just use the mix and it's very lemony. I like to cut the tart sourness of the lemon with the orange. It is a legitimate way to do it. The cherries add a lot too. It's a very crisp, refreshing drink. Easy to make, but it is a little bit more involved than, say, a gin and tonic, which I also love. In fact, I think I'm back on a gin kick now. I was on the tequila thing, then I went to the bourbon thing, back to the tequila thing. Now I think I'm going to be back into a gin kick. So we'll see what happens. Eddie says, dipping out for dinner and movie night with the wife. Station, I will watch y'all on the replay. Read Geiger if you're not. It is so good. Geiger is awesome. Issue number 1 and number 2 of the new series, new ongoing series, was fantastic. Redcoat is out this week. I have read Redcoat number 2 already. It's still not my favorite of the Ghost Machine books by far. I do feel like it's just a little, I don't know, it's hard for me to get into it, but it's still a good book. I know a lot of people liked it. Very excited for the second episode of Rook. But yeah, absolutely. Go have dinner and a movie with your wife. I don't know if she's a mother as well, but tell her Happy Mother's Day. Yeah, he did. He did the Price Poe films, like Mask of the Red Death and The Fall of the House of Usher. Those are really good. I used to have those on DVDs. They were like midnight movie double features or something. I don't have any of them anymore. I need to get those again. Yo, we got Nick from Comic Culture in the house. What is up, my dude? How you doing? Chill out, man, with another station and another Happy Mother's Day. Papa Kin Comics and More says Redcoat is a mixture of Archer and Armstrong's meets whatever that guy who lives forever. His name in the Sandman series. Oh, yeah. I don't remember his name either, but in that issue of Sandman, that one of my favorite issues of Sandman, actually. Ooh. All right, let's get this show officially underway. What do you want to chat about? Until then, it's time for your First Five. All right, we're going through the Marvel Masterpieces series by Joe Jusko, and we are on card 71. So we only have 30 cards left to go. So 3 more shows, and we're done with this. But right now, we're on Quicksilver. It's been really nice going back and individually being able to look at all the cards, having the nostalgic recollections of memories that pop up associated with it. Here we got a doofy-ass looking Quasar. Look at that goofy-ass look on his face. Quasar. They're trying to give Quasar a big push back in the 90s. This is a nice one. It's a super never skip leg day Punisher. Joe Jusko Punisher. Look at that. Gorgeous. Here's an interesting one. It's really cool to have Joe Jusko's take on this character, though, who was relatively new at this time. Shatterstar, the Rob Liefeld creation, with the double swords. Shatterstar. First appearance, New Mutants 100. Then we've got Shadow Cat. That's the Shadow Cat that I came to know back when I started reading comics for the first time. All right, so out of these 5 cards, the best one is tough. Let's, for now, go with the Punisher, just because the Punisher's badass, and it's cool to see Joe Jusko do a Punisher. So right now, the reigning champ for the night is the Punisher, but we'll see what happens at the final 5. But we're not there yet, because that was only the first 5. All right. Let's take a look at the chat. Eric says, "Oh snap! The hat has returned." Didn't feel like messing with my hair today. I slept in. I deserved it. I needed it. I slept in. I didn't get up till like 10, which is insane for me. So I woke up at 10 and had some things to do, and it's like, I'm not doing the hair tonight. I'm not doing the hair today. We're gonna put the hat on. That's what we're gonna do. But yeah, it's back temporarily. Plus, the Yankees smoked the Rays. Even though they tried to give it up, they wound up keeping it together, and they beat the Rays today. Dynamite says, "Station evening all. Hope all had a happy Mother's Day." Sticky Ricky says, "Starting to read Saga this week." Oh, awesome. Saga's a great book, and it's even great. It's really cool when you got like 60 issues ahead of you, and you will just blaze right through them. It is that good, that engrossing, and very, very much engaging. So I envy you. Two Gun Pedro is in the house. Station, my man, how you doing? Pew pew. William says, "After the Just Go cards, will you do the Boris Vallejo cards?" I don't have those cards. If I had those cards, maybe. Wait, are those nudie ones? Or are they just very sexy? But no, I don't have those cards. If I had them, for sure. And if they were appropriate, I guess. Did we just get some in at work? We may have just gotten some in at work. I got to go look at these cards that we just got in a collection. Maybe there's some stuff there I can mine for content. Dynamite says, let's start that over. "After hearing all the good things about Ain't No Grave, had to pick it up, going to read it tonight. The art in that book was gorgeous. Absolutely amazing. The colors, really cool, solid story, too." Eric says, "Really enjoyed Ain't No Grave, Dynamite." William says, "The best card so far is Psylocke." That was a winner last week, wasn't it? We got Chicago Schultze in the house. Hello, PCP. One love from Chicago. Was good to see you here. Chill Out Man says, "For Mother's Day, me and the girlfriend watched What's Love Got to Do with It?" What's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? Is that the lyric? Chill Out Man says, "Sad movie, but a good watch nonetheless." That is a good movie. Angela Bassett as Tina Turner. Lawrence Fishburne as Ike Turner. I remember watching it when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it since. Chicago says, agreed. Ain't No Grave was a fun Western. Thick, too. Yeah, there was a lot of content there. By the way, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. 2 upcoming books that I've already read the first issues of, I want to report real quick. First up, The Ultimates, #1, written by Dennis Camp. Super solid writer. We've had him on the show a couple times. Check out some of those interviews. I was very excited for this. This is going to put his work in front of the most eyes it's ever been put in front of. And he nailed the first issue. The first issue is great. You got a little bit of a taste of what his Ultimates is going to be like in the Free Comic Book Day issue that had like Spider-Man, Venom, and Ultimate stuff, right? So I had like a little bit of a short story for the Ultimates, and I really like his take on the book. It's a great take on Henry Pym in particular. The way he introduces some things. Now, he is definitely the most tied into the overall like narrative and plan that's being built up from Hickman since Ultimate Invasion. I have recently reread Ultimate Invasion and loved it so much more this time. Maybe because the hype of the Ultimate Universe and Ultimate Invasion just kind of felt like, what is the point of this? What's the direction? Where are we going? Now that we know where we're going, it's this intricate reimagining of the Ultimate Universe from Jonathan Hickman and his fellow creators. Ultimate Invasion was way easier for me to understand, way easier to get into. I could understand the stakes of it. But it is all just setup for what we got right now. But there's a lot of setup that you find out rereading Ultimate Invasion. It starts clicking together the structure of these books and the overall plan that's like wheels within wheels, worlds within worlds, gears within gears, whatever. So I'm starting to envision in my head the Hickman info page of how it's all working, right? I'm sure in his office he's got like a wall and he's just got all these circles and he's just planning and plotting everything out. But the Ultimate is very much tied into that. So I would very much say, like with Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate X-Men, you can go into those and just enjoy them. The Ultimates, I do think you need to read Ultimate Invasion and the Ultimate Universe one-shot. And if you have already read them, I think you need to reread them because that will definitely benefit you for Ultimates #1. But I really did like Ultimates #1. A good first issue statement from Dennis Camp and Company. The other one that I just read was Precious Metal #1. It's the follow-up to Little Bird. It is a prequel, not direct prequel to Little Bird, but it is set in the same world as Little Bird, I think 35 years before or something like that. So it's a different story, but it's the same world. And you get to see some of the beginnings of the theocracy that's going to show up in Little Bird, right? Same team. It's Darcy Van Polgeest as the writer and Ian Bertram on the artwork. Now, I think Matt Hollingsworth's back on colors. I got to double check that, but I do believe instead of Aditya Bidikar, it is now Hassan Otsman El How on the lettering, and doesn't miss a beat. But I really enjoyed it. Ian Bertram's artwork in particular is going to be the big draw for a lot of people. It is a meaty comic book. It is just shy of 50 pages, if not just over 50 pages. And each issue of the 6-issue series will be like that. Little Bird was my favorite book the year it came out. I think that was 2019. And it's been one of my favorite comic books for the last 10 years, like 100%. In the life of this channel, PCP, which we turn 10 next year in 2025. So we'll have a big 10-year anniversary, right? But what was I saying? Oh, in the entire history of this channel, Little Bird's been like one of my favorite comic books that's come out during that time. And if you liked Little Bird, you're going to love Precious Metal. It's a different story, different characters, but that same kind of vibe and gist and the artwork, believe it or not, it's even gotten better. So, very excited. Ultimates has already hit FOC. Hopefully your shops will have it. It shouldn't be too much of a stretch to think that this is going to be a heavily ordered comic. Precious Metals FOC is tomorrow, so if you haven't gotten a chance yet, do check out or do order it. Like if you're not sure if your comic shop's going to have it, Tomorrow is FOC, so that's your final order cutoff. So definitely check it out. Nine panel grid. That's Eric says, so ready for the Ultimates. Lowit says, yo, totally ready for the Ultimates. Sticky Ricky says, can you explain the magic of Marvel trading cards for someone who did not live in that era? Trading cards, okay, I guess, trading cards still exist, but it's more like into the games, like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, stuff like that. So there is like the speculation and the collecting and the fact that some of these things used to get valuable back in the day, and just trying to collect it in a cool mentality. They advertised the hell out of them. They marketed these things very well to comic book fans. But at the time, baseball cards were huge. And not even just baseball cards, but even back then, like basketball cards were big. I used to collect baseball cards, basketball cards, and comic book cards. And I loved the comic book cards because they had new art. Like with this, like here's the big appeal about Marvel Masterpieces. That's Joe Jusko artwork. This is not art that's picked from the comics or anything like that. It is straight up new original artwork. When Jim Lee did X-Men Series 1, Jim Lee did it. It was all original new Jim Lee artwork. So if you were a Jim Lee X-Men fan, you definitely wanted that set. For Series 2, they brought in other people like Joe Quesada and I think Greg Capullo maybe. So a bunch of all the X artists, right? There's a Spider-Man set, right, that has art from Mark Bagley on all the cards. So it was a way to get new art from some of your favorite creators on your favorite characters. So that was cool. And another thing that was really appealing was we didn't have the internet back in the day, right? The backs of all these cards gives you a little bit of a bio of this character. It shows you their first appearance. This is how you knew that stuff when you were growing up, right? In the 80s and the 90s, was in the 90s in particular. Like, this told you everything. Who is Shatterstar? Hauling from a tyrannical alternate future in which men are bred for the sole purpose of arena combat, Shatterstar trained extensively in the use of weaponry and became his planet's champion. Seeking a better life for his people, he fled his world and traveled into the past in search of the legendary superhero team, the X-Men, but found X-Force instead. Now Shatterstar employs his superior sword technologies and techniques to fight evil with his new allies, hoping to someday return to his time and free his people. There you go. Real name, Shatterstar. Group affiliation, X-Force. First appearance, New Mutants 100, April 1990. This was information that you were able to get. If you collected these cards, you had them. We didn't have the internet. This is how we found out who Shadowcat, who Shatterstar, who all these people were. And then some of the other cards, like Marvel Series 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on, they have like the power sets in the back, right? Or they'll have fun facts, things like that. They'll have cards that like reveal moments and mysteries of the comic book. So really cool stuff. And plus, there were special cards as well. Special, rare, collectible cards. I've been trying to find, because they're not with my Marvel Masterpieces, but I've been trying to find my special ones, and I've only found 2 of the 5, but I know I have all 5 of them. But like the ones I found was like, look at that, it's a Spider-Man versus Venom, and that's like chromed out, and then there's a Sabretooth versus Wolverine. But we got a few weeks till we get to these cards, and I gotta find my others. I don't know where they are. I'm missing 3. I'm missing my Mole Man Fantastic Four. I thought that was right over here. Silver Surfer Thanos, I thought that was right over here. They should all be right here. The other one's Captain America and Red Skull, and I have no idea where that is. So that's what it means to me. Sledhead is in the house. Station, how you doing, buddy? Is Pym still beating up his wife? No, but they play with that a little bit in a very cool way. Can I give you some good Dario Argento flicks? Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Deep Red, Suspiria, which is my favorite of all of his films and one of my favorite movies, period. So, Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Deep Red, Suspiria, Tenebrae. That's your Mount Rushmore of Argento flicks. Those are the 4 to start with. I would recommend. Jim Hammond is back, baby. That was a really cool free comic book day. Lowit says, how dumb they did not include the Ultimate Universe in the Ultimate Invasion trade. No, but they did do a second printing, and what I have heard is that they're saving it to put into the Ultimates Volume 1 trade. Shit, what was that Little Bird prequel? Precious Metal. William says, Argento picks Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Deep Red, Suspiria, Demons, and Opera to start you off. Pretty much almost the same list I had, but I had Tenebrae on there. Didn't put Demons. Demons is Lamberto Bava, but it is produced by Dario Argento. And I do love Opera. Lowett says, I saw Bird with Crystal Plumage and loved it. Seen the remake of Suspiria. Is the original better? The original is better, in my opinion. I think the new one's okay, but it's not. I'm just not the hugest fan. I mean, it's all right. It's all right. Kitten Puke, what is up? Yo, we also got Guy Forge in the house. Dude, I love those cards. I know, right? Marvel Masterpieces. And then they even did Marvel Masterpieces. They did, like there's a comic book series, right? Where you had them in the comic book size, and there was 4 issues of it, and it had all the cards. And they even had, I think it had art that wasn't used on any of the cards in that. I got to find those. Chill Out Man says, Robbie put me on Deep Red. He was being stingy about Tenebrae. What? What does that even mean? All right, let's talk about Robbie Week. Robbie Week was great. All right, Robbie Week day 1 was Saturday. We did stream last Sunday, so you already know I had a great free comic book day. It was fun. It was good. After free comic book day, I went and I did Dylan's Horror Show. We talked about Nightmare Sisters, one of my favorite Linnea Quigley movies, so that was super fun. Sunday, just had a nice chill day, got some stuff done, and did Rockin Robbie Live and had a really great stream, right? So then to catch y'all up, Monday day, I went and crushed it at work. Then I came back. I did my show with Dynamite over at the EXP that I do every Monday at 5 p.m. Central Time. You should join us. They got some great stuff for sale, and it's always fun conversation. Then we did PCP Movie Night for Days of Thunder. I liked it more than everybody else, but we spent most of the time, I guess, talking shit about Days of Thunder, even though I like Days of Thunder, but I didn't, it was fine. Tuesday, I spent the day reading comics, doing my video, and helping out some friends. And then I made tacos. One of my favorite meals is tacos. So it was Robbie Week. I had tacos. Wednesday was going to be a spiritual kind of journey night, where I was going to possibly explore some other worlds. But I did not. Instead, I hung out with 2 very close friends. We went and got gin. We made Tom Collins's. And then we were going to watch a movie. And that was the night we had some really bad storms come through. And a tornado actually came through my town about 3 miles down the road. So we were kind of like focused in on that. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, we had a retro game night. So some of the boys came over. My girlfriend and some of my best friends, Clayton and John and Brooks and Jelani. We all came and we all hung out at my place. We drank beer. We ate snacks. We had pizza party, and we played some old school games. We played Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, the new challengers. We played that for a spell. I introduced Brooks to the NES Punisher game, which he had never played, and he was actually doing a really good job on it. And then we went and started playing Super Mario World, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And we figured, me and Brooks were like, surely we can make it through, and we wanted to get through every level. After we finally made it through Vanilla Dome, we said, fuck it, let's go to the Star Road and just beat the game tonight. Just make sure we can beat the game. But we did beat it. Brooks did have the final blow. See, this is what always happens to us on these retro game nights, is that we'll be partying, we'll be drinking, right? So we start off, everything's good, game's easy, we're sober, games get harder, we get drunker. Ergo, we never make it through a game in a single night, so we had to cheat with the Star Road, but we did make it through Super Mario World. Yeah, I remember the famous battles. Absolutely. Robbie, can you review the X-Men 97 episodes, each one? That would be fire. I mean, we've talked about them here on the stream. When I do watch them, I'm so far behind. But last week I was talking about how I finally watched episode 3, the one with the Goblin Queen, and loved it. I did watch the 4th episode today. That's the one that has Life Death Part 1, and it has the Motendo. Now, when X-Men Animated Series was out in the 90s, I loved it, but every episode that had Mojo as the villain, I hated. I hated Mojo. I don't like Mojo. I don't like Mojo in the comics. I don't like Mojo in the show. I don't like Mojo. So the whole Sunspot and Jubilee getting thrown into a Nintendo, a Motendo, I thought was pretty freaking stupid. So I didn't like that. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it. Then Life Death Part 1, I liked, but it was too truncated. Get rid of that Mojo shit and let that be the whole damn episode. What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all? Anyway, so on that one, I liked the Life Death part, but I really hated the Motendo part. So that's what I thought about that. So there you go. Episode 1 and 2 I thought were all right. 3 I really liked. 4 I liked half of it. Not even half. I liked a third of it because the Jubilee story was more. Now, I love Jubilee. Jubilee's like one of my favorite characters. Probably is because of that X-Men cartoon, right? But, God, I hate Mojo stories. I really do. Super Mario World, let's go. Did John follow through with the birthday spanking? No, he did not. Nine Panel Grid says they definitely trickled out that Days of Thunder review. Frank says, at least it's nice to know I'm not the only one that misplaces books and cards. Nope, it happens all the time. Hey, no problem, Sticky Ricky. I hope that made sense. Eric says, Star Road ain't no cheat. It's vital. I mean, it's vital if you want to get through everything, but we did use it to skip World 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 and just go straight to the castle. But it was getting late. It was getting late. And then on Friday, that was the actual birthday, so I got up and I did my show with Dynamite. And then I just hung out with my girlfriend for most of the day. Then we went and some friends, and we all met at Twin Peaks, one of my favorite places to eat. So I had some tequila and some beer and some cheesesteak, and had a good dinner. Then we went back to my place, and we drank tequila because my friends had got me a bottle of tequila, and Janelle and Austin, so Station. So they got a bottle of tequila. We drank tequila. And we wound up playing, what's that game? Jackbox, I think? Like, everybody gets on their phone. It's on my buddy's got it on his Switch. He brought his Switch over, and we're playing it like that. So we had a really fun time. And that was Robbie Week. Robbie Week was very successful. It was very fun. And every day, I would come home from work to a gift. Like, basically, there was... Well, first of all, Jamie had a Blu-ray for me for each day of Robbie Week. So she had a bag she gave me. She's like, reach in every day and pull out one, and that's your Robbie Day present. So Jamie's just the best, right? And then, so there was that. But then, like, I was getting stuff sent to me from y'all, so I really appreciate it. I'll be showing all that off, and Show and Tell had a really, really cool birthday haul from the PCP Army this year. A faux show. I do want to mention this. CBC Awards are 5 weeks away from their open nomination period. So the CBC Awards, we won one a couple years ago for Best Comic Book Review. Last year, we took the night, y'all. We won 5 of them things. We defended successfully our Best Comic Book Review title. We got Best Hair and Beard. We've got... Best Ongoing Series for the Weekly Comic Book Review, Best Collaboration for the Monthly Comic Book Review, and we won Overall Channel of the Year. All of those are right up there. You can't see them because they're not on. I need some more batteries. I'm sure I could turn them on, but what happens is I always forget that they're on, and then they stay on for days, and then the batteries die. So anyway, open nominations. That starts, I believe, June 15th or something like that. So be sure to get ready for that. Follow the CBC Awards on Instagram. Follow them on their YouTube channel, Brian LCS, and get ready because we need to defend some titles. We want some more nominations and we want some more wins. But even more beyond that, what we want is more people in the community to participate, to be a part of this. And I will already tell you this. If the best hair, hands, and beard category is back, I will not accept a nomination for best hair or beard this year because it caused a lot of controversies. However, I will accept a best hands nomination because I've been doing the top-down videos. My hands are more prevalent. Plus, my hands are just, look at that. Look at that. So anyway, so CBC Awards are starting their nominations in June, and we are definitely going to be letting you know more about that as we get closer. What is up, KO Joe? Mojo needs vision. Chill Out Man says, Mojo needs more love. Lowit says, get to episode 5. That's when it gets good, and I hated Mojo too. From North Carolina, heck yeah. Chill Out Man says, bro, I'm starting the Rockin Robbie diet once a month. Twin Peaks, tequila, and I heard something about tacos. Yeah. It's the Rockin Robbie diet. Now, that's not every day. I don't drink tequila and eat tacos every day. Or eat Twin Peaks I don't even eat Twin Peaks once a month, probably. I should, though. I should. I like Twin Peaks because of the fond memories I have of the one in Orlando. And they got $4 tequila shots. Which is actually pretty good. Tell the CBC Awards to make their site easier to vote. You tell them. Two Gun Pedro says, the PCP Army killed it during the CBC Awards. Yeah, you tell them. Brian's always wanting to hear feedback. Lowit says, oh my God, not the hair and beard again. I had to vote for this shit. We're going for hands this year, y'all. We're going for hands. Is there even a CB Awards? Like for CB Radio? What are we talking about? Or comic book awards? There are comic book awards. There's Eisners, the Harveys, the Ringos. There's a few of them. There's, of course, the Lost in Comics Awards. Taki Station, pop, pop, boom. Good to see you here, buddy. All right, another thing. So last week I was telling y'all that I got into this new YouTube channel called Rick Beato. It's this dude. He lives in Atlanta. He's a musician. He's a teacher. He's a producer. But he does like videos about music. And I've been watching a lot of his videos, and I have been on a huge Alice in Chains kick this week. This last week, I've listened through all their discography or the stuff with Lane, right? So I haven't listened to anything after that. Now I have seen them, not in person, but I've seen them perform with the new guy, and I do like it. But of course, Lane Staley that was a tragic loss. But Alice in Chains, what happens is, these bands that you liked when you were a kid, and what happens is you kind of stop listening to the records, right? And then all you remember now is, or what all you're listening to are like the hits. Man in the Box, Rooster, Got Me Wrong's one of my favorites, right? But then I went back and I was like, let's reabsorb some of these albums. Man, oh man. It makes me really sad for the state of music, modern music, when I go back and listen to that stuff. Average Comics Joe's here. As a comic store owner, is it hard to sell books that your PCP channel doesn't support? Well, first of all, I do not own a comic shop. I run a comic shop. I am the store manager of a shop, but I do not own the shop. And no, it's not hard to sell books that my channel doesn't support. Everybody's got different tastes, and my audience, the customers at my shop, they don't all watch my channel. Most people don't, right? And so yeah, there's not much there. Now, I hand sell comics, and I encourage my staff to do that as well. Like, that's what we do. We all have our recommendations. We all have our picks. We all push our books that we think are good on the customers. And one of our jobs is to learn the taste of a customer and be like, yo, you would like this book. It wasn't for me, but I know that you would like this book. So that's one of the things we do. So no, it's not hard at all. I have no problem selling X-Men books, for instance. I don't read them. I have Amazing Spider-Man, still one of my best sellers. I ain't reading it. It ain't got my support. The Rockinest Rabble. Well, thank you so much. Looking on eBay now, the Fleer cards look choices. Yeah, there's some good Fleer cards. We went through my 95 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man set not too long ago. Rick Beato has a great channel. Hell yeah, Eric. Man, I've been watching the shit out of it, man. I've been watching the shit out of it. I've been watching the interview with the dude. I can't remember his name. He's a studio musician, but he's the guy who was playing the guitar, the rhythm guitar on Beat It from Michael Jackson's Thriller, which I have recently inherited a record player. So I got a record player temporarily. I'm holding it for my girlfriend and all of her records as well. And so last night I was going through and I have some records. Like I don't listen to records and I never really try to collect them, but I do have 2 Foghat records and I do have an Oasis record and I have Thriller by Michael Jackson. And so I went in my closet and I dug out my Thriller record, my vinyl. And last night, you wanna be starting something, I wanna be starting something. Yeah, I was listening to Thriller last night. So then I start going through my girlfriend's records that I'm temporarily holding on to. Fucking London Calling's there. Good luck getting that one back. Good luck getting that one back. That's one of my favorite records of all time. London Calling. Also had Combat Rock, which is cool. I like Combat Rock. It's not London Calling. It's not Give 'Em Enough Rope. It's a good album. But London Calling, that shit rocked. And I was so excited. And it was pristine. I was like, whoa. Put that on. Dun, 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 dun. Boom, boom. Boo-doo-doo-doom. Boom, boom. Boo-doo-doo-doom. Boom, boom. Boo-doo-doo-doom. Boom, boom. London calling to the faraway town. Now war is declared and battle come down. London calling to the underworld. Come out of the cupboard, you boys and girls. London calling, now don't look to us. Phony Beatlemania is bitten the dust. London calling. I love The Clash, and I love that fucking album in particular. Man in the Box, great song. I'm the man in the box, buried in my shit. That led me throughout the week to find like very early concert footage of Alice in Chains, like as earliest as I could get, like 1990, 1991, what I could find. I found some cool videos. Fuck, they're so good. That also then led me to rewatching their Unplugged. Their MTV Unplugged might be my favorite MTV Unplugged is Alice in Chains. Probably. That one, yeah, probably. I mean, I know we all love the Nirvana one. But Rick Beato's channel even got me, I went back and I listened to Nevermind a couple of times this last week, right? And I haven't listened to that shit in forever. Now, you always hear Smells Like Teen Spirit. You always hear Come As You Are. And, you know, you hear those same songs. Sometimes you forget what it was like on that album and having that album and listening to it. Holy shit. Won't you come and save me? Save me. I want to karaoke that one, but I don't know if I could do the hook. The in my eyes, can you sew them shut? Jesus Christ, deny a maker. Tries. Well, me man, I'll read my eyes. It's good shit. Yes, I like Beato. He did his Spotify top 20 songs and how they suck compared to the 80s and 90s music. He played all the chords too. I know. I love how he like plays along with them. And honestly, that's what got me into it, because like I saw the first time I saw this video popped up in my feed and it was like, what happened to rock music between 94 and 2000 or some shit like that. And I was like, well, let me check it out. And this dude was like putting some shine on some bands that I love. And then I realized throughout the rest of his stuff, like, and I started watching a bunch of his content, right? I love how he breaks down songs. I love his live streams. My favorite, though, is when he has people on there and they're talking about the history, like what happened with the Telecommunications Act and shit like that, right? Like, I eat that shit up. I'm loving it. But yeah, I do like those Spotify ones. Because he finds that I remember, like, I watched one, and it was the first time he had listened to Flowers by Miley Cyrus, and he liked the song. And I was like, I like that song too. So, good. Good to know. Dynamite says, Alice in Chains was my band back in the day. The greatest concert I went to is when they opened for Metallica in the early 90s. Hell yeah. Chill Out Man says, I like Bush, not talking about politics either. Yeah, I love Bush too. 16 Stones, the shit. Razorblade Suitcase is supremely underrated. Clash is dope. Clash is sick. I also got Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros. I can never say that right. Rockin' Robbie, do you have an analog setup for your turntable, or do you play it through a digital receiver? It's one of those ones that has speakers attached to it already. Who is your favorite comic writer that got their start in TV or movies? Huh. Interesting question. I mean, honestly, a lot of people that come from outside the industry doesn't necessarily work for me. So I probably might say Kevin Smith, based on the strength of his Daredevil story, Guardian Devil, that I really do like, with Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti on the artwork. And his Clerks comics, like 1 and 2 in particular, Clerks the comic book, Clerks the holiday special. So I might go with Kevin Smith, because nothing else is striking me right now. It definitely ain't J.J. Abrams' kid. Hey, what's up, Albert? Don't forget, don't follow off of Jars of Flies is one of my favorite. Yeah, Jars of Flies, that's a great album. I like the self-titled one too, with Grind. In your darkest hole, you'll be well advised not to plan my funeral, for the body dies. Yeah. Chill Man says, yep, I miss Unplugged. I have Eric Clapton and Linkin Park Unplugged. There's some good ones. Dude, check out Kurt's proto band, Fecal Matter. Yeah, I've never actually listened to that. Yeah. sun never drown you out now. Now, let me sleep so my teeth won't grind. Now, 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 now. That's how I got into Alice in Chains. Was that album. The grunge stuff, I'm like 10 years old in 1991, right? So I remember Smells Like Teen Spirit being a big deal, right? I remember like at the skating rink, they would start playing Smells Like Teen Spirit. And it's a few years later where I started getting more into, you know, alternative rock and just rock in general. I never was like that big of a fan of it at that era, because at that era I was really into hip hop music, and the hip hop music at the time, the stuff that I was really into is like Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, Criss Cross, Kid and Play, Salt and Pepper, Cypress Hill. I was getting into Cypress Hill at that time. I remember my buddy introduced me to NWA across the street. That was a big gear shift. Like when I went from MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice and Fresh Prince and Kid and Play into finally hearing NWA for the first time. I remember The Chronic coming out. I bought that. My grandmother would take me to Sam Goody's and Camelot Music, and I would buy like tape singles. So I bought like the What's My Name, Snoop Dogg, and I bought Insane in the Brain single. Like I used to buy those singles and I had them on tape and I would listen to them, and then I would eventually got into CDs. But around 94, that's when I started getting more in rock music. I switched schools, and it was like, how do I say this? I switched schools, and it was a big culture shock, right? Because I was homies with everybody at my school. And then I switched schools to another side of town. All the white kids did not like me. And a lot of the people of color didn't know what to make of me, because here's some white kid coming in, you know, who's just into Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Cypress Hill and shit, right? But eventually that was cool. But some of my other friends, they introduced me to things like Green Day and Live. And then I started watching MTV, and I started getting more into rock music. Anyway, long story short, I eventually joined a Columbia House Records thing or whatever, right? And just like the bit in A Serious Man, you know, if you don't check that you don't want the selection of the month, they'll send it to you and bill you for it. And one of the ones that I got was that Alice in Chains album that had Grind and Heaven Beside You. And I had known of them, but I wasn't into them. And then I had that album, so I listened to it, and I was like fucking blown away. And then Grind was on MTV at the time. So it really got me into that. So that's when I started getting into rock. Because before that, it was pretty much all just hip hop and, you know, pop, I guess, and R&B. Introspective station all listening in the background, but I had a drop-in chat on the Alice in Chains. Was my favorite band growing up. Sap, Jars of Flies, Unplugged, all amazing. Hell yeah. Dude, I missed the time when we listened to an entire tape or album. Today's ADHD world, it just skips post 45 seconds. Yeah. Chill Out Man's in his zone now. You think a record store is a good business? I have friends that run a record store that are very successful in this town. So, yeah. I think there's a lot of people that... Fuck, I collect VHS. So, there's lots more people that collect vinyl. Evil Face Bad says, hell yeah, let's deny our maker. Lowit says, so I discovered Greta Van Fleet from a Beato video. Great modern band. Go listen to the Meet the Master song. I've listened to them a little bit. They were just in my town on Thursday night. They were going to play Wednesday night, but then the tornado came through, so they postponed it. But I did not see them. I wouldn't say that the D.G. Chichester Daredevil stuff is good. I do enjoy it in a nostalgic tinge. I like the Scott McDaniel artwork, but it is a bit clunky. Now, Lowit, we actually did that Black Armor costume story, Fade to Black, I think, or Back in Black, Fade to Black, something like that. We actually did that on a Marvel in the 90s. That has been clipped out. That was one of our earliest Marvel in the 90s. But that has been clipped out, And it's on the channel. So if you typed in, if you went to our page and typed in Daredevil or something, it would pop up, I'm sure. To know my fresh thoughts after having reread it. And I show some of the artwork and shit, too. It's a very early Marvel in the 90s, though, so I didn't know what I was doing. Dynamite says, Umbrella Academy by the singer from My Chemical Romance was a favorite creator from outside mainstream writers. Yeah, I wouldn't, yeah. So he's not necessarily from television or movies, but yeah, I would definitely say Gerard Way would be one of my favorites from outside of comics. But comics was actually what he wanted to do first before before MCR. Harlan Ellison, yeah, that's a good one. J. Michael Straczynski, I wouldn't say he's one of my favorites. Taki says, Rockin Robbie, the cap is back, hat to the back, hat to the back. I gotta keep my pants on the low. That's the kind of girl I am. That's the kind of girl I am. Hat to the back, baby. Gotta put my pants on the low. That's the kind of girl that I am. Hell yeah. I just found out Snoop Dogg killed somebody. Maybe. That was a big talk at the town back in the day. I remember that. MTV was all over that. And then Snoop even did that damn fucking song was coming out. Like that song had a single and a video out. Murder Was the Case. Murder was the case that they gave me. Oh, man. I loved the horror aspect of that video. He got away with it. I don't know if he did it. I'm just saying he didn't get found guilty. So did he kill somebody? I don't know. Hasn't lately, I guess. I don't know. All right, we're about to take a quick break. When we come back, DC sneak peek, and we're rolling in with the return of Batman here on Rockin Robbie Live. Recording.
We're recording.
Hey, gang, welcome to... What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Mother's Day, a special presentation of Rockin Robbie Live. There's nothing special about it. It's just a normal show, but it is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all you wonderful mothers out there. Thank you so much for keeping this world going. And happy Mother's Day to my mother, who's no longer with us, so rest in peace to my mother and my grandmother. So to all the moms that are not with us currently, how about a mighty hearty station? How about a station identification for them? All right, we've had a great show already. We were talking about the Robbie Week festivities, how it was a success, how much fun it was. We chatted about Alice in Chains. We talked a little bit about X-Men 97. We mentioned that the CBC Awards are going to be having their open nomination start in June, so everybody get ready for that. Go follow them on Instagram. Follow them wherever you need to so you can get the word when that happens, because we're going for best hands this year, y'all. We're going for best hands. But anyway, we've had a great show already. Coming up, we got the DC sneak peek. We got the return of Batman. We got Marvel in the 90s. And, of course, the Birthday Hall show and tell. So we still got a ways to go. But join us over on Facebook and Instagram. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers there. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. There are links to save you money at dynamicforces.com and at BlackBox Comics. All that stuff in the description below, as well as merch. You can find all that stuff also on our website. You can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie, and you can support the channel with a super chat or over at patreon.com/PCP. Like these fine PCP patrons right there. Generals and soldiers, one and all. Coming up here on the show this week, tomorrow night, we continue Cruise Choice over at PCP Movie Night with Risky Business. That's right, every Cruise Choice this year has to involve Tom Cruise, so this was Brooks's pick. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, join us for a conversation about risky business. And then join me Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Verno's channel, Blood Splatter Chatter, as we have a horror trivia night. And a special bonus, something brand new we're doing, a Patreon watch party. We're going to do our first one May 22nd, 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We're going to be watching The Crow. I'm going to be watching it on VHS, but you can watch it however you want. I encourage you to join our Patreon at any level, and you will be able to stream this as it's happening live, and I get to watch along with The Crow with you. So heck yeah, let's kick off Act 2 with another Tom Collins. Beautiful, beautiful drink. Delicious. Oh, it's crisp. It's refreshing. That's brisk, baby. Let's take a look at the chat, because even though this show has a plan, grandiose some may call it, it is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. Doggy says, Rockin Robbie, they billed you, but did you pay the bill? Maybe Bobby Phillips didn't pay that bill. Mad Bomber says, wasn't Brian K. Vaughan a writer for Lost before comics? No, not before comics. He actually had comic work before that. He did a brief run, well, it's not too brief, on Swamp Thing back in the day in the late 90s, early 2000s. And he also did some Batman work. He did the Ultimate X-Men. So Brian K. Vaughan was active in comics, I think, before he started doing television work. So there are plenty of writers I like that have gone on to do television work. But from being imported from TV and movies into comics, I don't think Brian K. Vaughan was one of those. I could be mistaken. We got Brother Joe in the house. No better way to end Mother's Day with the godfather of this community, Soul, Rockin Robbie. Well, station, and thank you for the kind words, Brother Joe. Stu from Dr. Doom's fan club is here. Station, Robbie, happy birthday week, bro. How is everyone tonight? Station. Thank you very much. The birthday week is over. Robbie week is over. It's not about me anymore. Now it's about you, bro. It's about you, man. So, yeah. Now, Robbie week was great, dude. It was a fantastic time. Cannot wait to show off all the cool stuff I got from my friends, from my family, from my closest loved ones, and from the PCP Army. This song plays whenever I take my pants off. Loet says, I miss my mom too, Robbie. Don't we all? No, that sounded like a joke. I didn't mean it that way. That sounded like a joke. I mean, like, those of us who have lost mothers, don't we? Never mind. That sound... How about that? Sorry. Who else is up in here? Sticky Ricky says, you think the Kid Cudi comic will sell and be good? It's not good. At least the first issue wasn't. I didn't like the first issue, so I didn't come back and read it. I mean, it's selling decent enough. Sales, number one, are strong because it's like a spec thing, but then they slow down for issue number 2, but it's not very good, unfortunately. But I am a big Kid Cudi fan. I do like Kid Cudi. I'm in the pursuit of happiness, and I know everything that shine ain't always gonna be gold. We be fine, and what you get it. I'll be fine. I'm in the pursuit of happiness, and I know everything that shine ain't always gonna be gold. I'll be fine. Forgot some of the words there. Oh, I did not get a chance to check out the John Thomas tribute, but John's birthday, John Thomas, JT's birthday was on Wednesday. Happy to share we miss JT, and I'm honored to have his birthday be a part of Robbie Week. I had a Delirium Red and Schofferhofer Weizenbier today. Belgian and German beer rules. I do love Belgians. I love Belgian beers. I am trying, now that Robbie Day's over, I'm going to try to be beer-free for an extended amount of time. Thus the gin. I didn't say alcohol-free. I said beer-free. I've been cutting down weight. I've been trying to continue that. Beer does not help it. Not at all. So, hopefully I can do it. But you'll probably see me drinking less beer for now. Probably bring it back in the fall. It's going to be pool time this year, baby. Pool time. But I love deliriums. I love delirium. I love delirium. I love Chimay. CNSS84. What's up, Robbie? So happy to catch this live tonight. That show on Friday with the folks from Dynamite was a lot of fun, too. Love your positivity, brother. Keep it up. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, we wanted to let them in on the Cruise Choice Fund, and we were talking about our favorite Tom Cruise movies, many of which we're covering here this year on Cruise Choice. Yo, Joe Corralo's in the house. Happy belated, Robbie. Opera on the big screen this past Friday for my birthday was crazy. They're playing Deep Red at the end of the month, too. Bruh, that is awesome. The only thing my theater has right now is Phantom Menace. You know, we live in a kind of artsy freaking town, you know? Why is nobody, like, freaking bought one of the old theaters or set something up to, like, do these kind of things? I think I know somebody. They're like a horror club, and they do these things, but like I don't know, man. That would be a dream, right? To own a 1 or 2 house movie theater, right? Have the PCP offices and the studio be there, but also like host movie events. That would be so much fucking fun. I would love to do that. And happy belated birthday to you, my friend. Joe's birthday was yesterday, everybody. So tell Joe happy birthday. And all he really wants for his birthday is for you to go pick up his new book, King Arthur. What is it called? I almost said A Kid in King Arthur's Court, brother. That is not what it is. Is it over here? Oh, it's over there. Something about Knights of King. Joe, what's the name of the book? I'm sorry. I said A Kid in King Arthur's Court. Now that would be something. That would be very impressive. James says, I'm working on the Summer Bod 2027 also. Trust the process. Absolutely. Loet says, did anybody see the Apes movie? Any good? I'm pumped for Furiosa and Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I'll go see Furiosa. I didn't go see the Planet of the Apes movie because I haven't seen any of those new ones. King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. A.K.A. A Kid in King Arthur's Court. But no, I didn't watch it because I haven't seen what is it? Dawn of something of blah 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 of. Should I watch them? People tell me they're good. I want to check them out. I know Matt Reeves did like a couple of them, right? 2 or 3 of them. I think. So which ones? I was never a huge Planet of the Apes guy. Like when I was a kid, they would play on like, I guess TBS or some shit, you know, and I would watch them, but like I never really like became a fan or whatever. And then my first time as an adult, like I remember buying the DVD set that had all the movies, and I watched the first one. I was like, man, I don't really like it. So I'd never finished it, and then eventually got rid of it. But then I do remember the Tim Burton one, and I hated that movie. So what we got? Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. What is it? This is the original. Okay, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, and now this one. Okay. I could probably watch it without having seen the other ones, but I do want to watch them. Sticky Ricky says, random thought, Marvel should do full runs of facsimile editions, 1 per month of classic runs like Claremont Byrne, X-Men like Claremont Byrne X-Men or McFarlane Spider-Man. I think that's a great idea. They're kind of doing it a little bit right now with Secret Wars. They're re-releasing all the Secret Wars month to month. They're doing the same thing with Spider-Man of 1984 because it's the 40th anniversary of the black costume. And DC's doing that with Crisis on Infinite Earths right now. But I think that would be a really cool thing. Actually, why not? They don't like to keep them in print. Like, why not do that? Like, I think that would be a good idea. Loet says, Rise, Dawn, and War are good watches. I saw all the old ones too. Dynamite says, I lost interest in the Apes movies, but I did watch the marathon on Sci-Fi. Loet says, Charlton Heston, goodness, Robbie, OG rules. I didn't like it at the time. Might have to check it out, though. It's definitely something I've been thinking about one day, making everybody do all the Planet of the Apes movies. Because we're going to run out of franchises. I mean, fuck. Think about this. We did the Police Academy franchise before we did Planet of the Apes. We did the Police Academy franchise before we did the Die Hard franchise. We did it before we did the Terminator franchise. Like, fucking, what's wrong with us? Oh, wow. Did they announce how many Black costume issues they are doing? I think they're doing the full year. 12 issues. I think. The Tom DeFalco stuff. Ron Friends, Rick Leonardi. They've already got the few of them out. 252, 253, 254, and now 255, I think, is out right now. Thoughts on Blood Hunt. My thoughts, DC versus Vampires was so last year, guys. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to compare those two right now, you know, but I did like the first issue of Blood Hunt. I liked the Red Band edition. I thought it was cool. There had been some stuff set up a little bit in Jed McKay's Moon Knight, maybe some stuff in Blade, but I'm still not completely sold on some of the choices they've made. So we'll see what happens. Eric says, I'd argue that the Die Hard franchise has the same diminishing returns as Police Academy. Well, guess what? You're going to find out what we think about that pretty soon. Why? Because we're doing the Die Hard franchise. We're doing it to kick off Action Fest after Crew's Choice. I have not announced what the Action Fest lineup is going to be, but I guess you just got your first sneak peek. We're debuting with the Die Hard franchise. Now, on Action Fest, we already did do the first Die Hard movie, but this time we're doing the entire franchise. Joe says, Marvel is going to be doing oversized hardcovers of the facsimile runs they're putting out now, too, with ads and everything. Secret Wars and Black Suit Saga. Oh, that's really cool. Cardstock Variant says, Robbie, your Bridge Street, Cinemark, and Regal Trustville both play Fathom events, which sometimes have opera replays. The opera we're talking about is the Dario Argento film from the 80s opera. Yeah, they do opera stuff, and they do the Miyazaki Fest and things like that. I like going to Fathom events. But no, that's not the opera we're talking about. I have not seen Mallrats yet. That's blasphemy. It's not blasphemy. That would be a good rewatch. That'd be a good Patreon watch along. Give you a chance to watch it. Some Mallrats Gold. If you ever do watch Mallrats, check out our PCP movie night we did on it. We've done Clerks and we've done Mallrats. I think that's the only Kevin Smith movies we've done. Definitely got to do Chasing Amy at some point. You got to send me the Action Fest list when you get a chance. Yep, you're always one of the first people I send the list to. Die Hard's on the list. But yeah, Joe, I'll send it to you. We probably need to start sending those out soon. All right, y'all. Believe it or not, DC's got books out this week. I've read them. Not a lot of them. Only got 4 books to talk about. But let's do it. It's time for your DC Sneak Peek. First up is Outsiders number 7. Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, Robert Carey on the artwork. The artwork is definitely a step down from what we're used to, but this was another solid issue of The Outsiders. Now, we knew that The Outsiders was going to be heavily influenced by Planetary. We found out that 100% is a direct sequel to Planetary. This explains how. This explains how Jaquita got from the end of Planetary into the DC Universe and The Outsiders, and it involved a lot of Grant Morrison-y ideas, obviously some Warren Ellis ideas. It plays around with some of the Crisis events like Convergence and Dark Crisis, and Dark Knight's Metal. It's playing with some of those ideas and bringing them all together. I love the story. It's nice to like go back and see this. There's so many books now that are super influenced by Planetary, and this one is a direct follow-up. Is it as good as Planetary? No, not in the slightest. But kind of in the way, if you liked what Jeff Johns and Gary Frank and Brad Anderson did with Doomsday Clock and how they kind of integrated some Watchmen ideas into the DC universe, it's kind of the same thing with the Warren Ellis stuff from Planetary. Then we got Batman and Robin issue number 9. This was an all right issue because Man-Bat, we kind of get like a big like operatic moment with him kind of like doing his whole villain spiel, right? And then the majority of this issue is actually Damian in school with his girlfriend Flatline, trying to confront his principal, who he thinks is his old teacher, and maybe even Shush. So you get some revelations in this issue, and it's cool. The Simone DeMeo artwork is absolutely stunning in here. Absolutely stunning. It's an interesting take on Man-Bat, kind of bringing him back to some more villainous roots. But then the art shifts for the Robin portion of the story, and I think it's the same artist who did the Azrael, Agent of the Bat, with Dan Waters, but it doesn't quite work the same here. It just kind of throws you off, and it was all right. So the art was all right, but the story was pretty solid. Then we've got Action Comics 1065, the third part of the House of Brainiac. Not a lot of movement here. Some things get moved into certain places, I guess, but like, I'm waiting for something big to happen. And now we're building up into it, and there's some really great stuff in here. I love what Joshua Williamson's been doing in the pages of Superman, and now in Action Comics, because he's doing this big crossover. We know we're getting the Brainiac Queen. Just get to it already. But some really cool stuff. Great artwork. Great artwork. Lobo and Superman teaming up against the Zarnians. And then you got like a little Supergirl and a little Superboy running around. They've escaped a bottled city from Brainiac's ship, and they're super tiny. But the best DC book I read this week was Green Lantern issue number 11. The big plot of the United Planets and what they're trying to do it's been revealed, and now we are stepping up the momentum and really busting it all out and loose here. This was a really fantastic issue of Green Lantern. Carol gets a spotlight here a little bit, and it works for me, so I really do like it. This book has been great. Let me show you some of the artwork. Oh, that's a big spoiler. Oh, you also get a little bit of like some of Hal's past with Carol, and that we didn't necessarily know about, but really cool stuff. But Hal and the rest of the Lanterns go to confront the evil tyrant leader of the United Planets. It does not go as they want it to. And then there's the backup story in here with Kevin Maguire artwork that is a little bit of a tie-in to the House of Brainiac, but not super essential. So, to recap, direct sequel to Planetary, and it's fun. Art's a little clunky. Batman and Robin, really solid story-wise. Art gets clunky when they switch the artist in the middle of the book. Action Comics, pretty solid. It's good, but I'm ready to get more into the mystery and what's going on here. But Green Lantern, Jeremy Adams, is doing a hellaciously awesome job in the pages of Green Lantern, and that has been your DC Sneak Peek. You know, and I see somebody say Hardcore Station. You want to see something funny? Hardcore Station makes its appearance in this week's Action Comics. All right, let's take a look. Minecraft? What? Robbie, your recent single issue reviews of the Heroes Reborn era made me go back and reread some of mine also. Yes, most of it's meh, but I have a lot of nostalgia for that era. Keep them coming. You got another one tonight from Marvel in the 90s. We'll be getting to that one not too long. I should say. We'll be getting to that one in not too long. I hope that when they do drop on the channel, that you go check it out again, because they could use the extra views. Lowit says, question, to read Outsiders, do I need to read Planetary? The latest issue has a Drummer Girl variant that caught my attention. I don't think you need to read Planetary, but you definitely will want to. Planetary is one of the greatest comic books of all time, and I did a top-down on the first issue, so you can check that out and actually see what the first issue's like, and I go through the story. So you can check out that video, see if it's to your liking. I think it's one of the greatest comics of all time, personally. But The Outsiders, I think, is more rewarding if you have read it. Lloyd also says, Absolute Power Free Comic Book Day book was dope. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hey, we got Damien, Sleepy Reader. What is up, my man? Good to see you. Good to see you. CNSS84 says, whoa, direct sequel? Planetary is one of my favorite books of all time. I'll have to check this out. Thanks for the rec. Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. I have also already recorded all of the issue 2s for Heroes Reborn, so that is something we're going to go all the way through. I also have recorded a second, the second issue in the Superman Triangle era. So, yeah, you might want to check that one out too. All right. Last week, somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody's like, when is Batman coming back? And I thought to myself and said, next week. So it's back, y'all. It's time for it. Are y'all ready? Going through the Batman animated series. The last time we did this, which was a few months ago, we had done the 2-part Two-Face episode, right? And so now this is the episode after that. Y'all ready? It's time for...
I'm looking for that man. Batman. I got a phaser, though. I like Star Trek, too.
All right. And thank you for that, Perry. All right. And we're going to be talking about the episode, It's Never Too Late. This is an episode that kind of has a little bit of a... I've been saying this a lot lately, but it's a little bit after school specially, but not in a bad way. It's actually still a good issue or a good episode. So let's get into it. So we got a crime war going on in the streets of Gotham City. 2 different crime bosses, Thorne and Stromwell. So it starts with a news report of this, and Stromwell is watching it. And on the news report, Gordon is there, and Gordon even says, and it looks like youth is winning because Stromwell's old and he's on his way out, is what everybody in the city is thinking, and this pisses Stromwell off like crazy. Also, his son is missing. Stromwell's son is missing, and he knows within his heart of hearts that Rupert Thorne had something to do with it, right? So he has decided, in between this, by the way, Thorne and his dudes are talking about how they're going to set up a meeting with Stromwell, and they're going to use that meeting to take him out. Batman hears this, and now he's in the middle of everything. So Stromwell's on his way to this meeting with him and Thorne to squash this gang war and also find out where his son is. They come across a railroad track that has a train that's running through, and it sends Stromwell back into a flashback of when he was a kid palling around with his brother. His brother's a little bit of a goody two-shoes, but he himself is a little bit of a shit, and he's a thief, right? He gets stuck on the tracks as a train is approaching him. He gets his foot out just in time to avoid the train right in the path of another train, and it freaks him out. He freezes up, and then we cut back to the modern day, and he's had this flashback. He's kind of freaked out, but they move on. They move forward. Batman, meanwhile, is up there at this church, and he's watching Stromwell. He knows that Stromwell's life is in danger, and he has to be there to try to prevent this from happening. So he's watching him. He's following him. And then we got Stromwell looking up at the church where Batman's at. And at first you think Stromwell's looking and seeing Batman maybe, but there's actually a different reason for that gets revealed. Batman goes into the church and visits this priest. And he tells the priest that Stromwell needs his help. He needs you to meet him. He's like, I can't help him. He's too far gone. It's very easy to get to piece together what's going on. Plus, I've watched this before, but it's very easy to piece what's going on. This is his brother. This is the brother from the flashback, right? We're not supposed to know that yet, but Batman basically tells him he needs you tonight. It's never too late to change. So we go to Pete's restaurant, which Thorne has used to set up Stromwell. Stromwell and his goons come in. Rupert Thorne welcomes them. He's like, yo, come in, get rid of have your goons go outside. We're going to have a nice conversation. Stromwell gets right up in his face, though, and he's like, what have you done with my son? I know you got my son. Rupert Thorne's like, I don't know anything about your son. I don't mess with your family, right? So a lot of gangster, mafia type stuff going on in this episode, right? Which would have bored me as a kid. I didn't like these episodes. If it didn't have a supervillain in it that I really liked, I kind of, whatever, this wasn't all right. But now as an adult, I really appreciate this level of storytelling and that not everything is about the Joker. Not everything is about Penguin or Catwoman or Mr. Freeze. We haven't even gotten to the Mr. Freeze episode yet. That's a few episodes coming, right? But this has also been Stromwell, Thorne. This has been something that's been building up in the background, right? So Thorne's like, come have a seat, let's have some dinner. At this point, Stromwell realizes he's being set up. The building explodes. His goons are outside. They're like, the boss is dead. Thorne thinks that he's gotten rid of his big competition, and now Gotham is his for the taking. But it turns out Batman was there. Batman was there to save Stromwell. So he busts out of the place, takes him up onto the roof, tells him, you're coming with me, buddy. And Stromwell's like, I ain't coming with you, Batman. You're a piece of shit. And then he just grabs his ass and starts running across the rooftops with him. Then a dude sees this happening, and he tells the police, and there's a dude there who is one of Rupert's men, and he hears this, and he comes to tell Rupert Thorne, dude, we didn't get him. Stromwell's still alive. Batman came and saved him. So now they're going to follow Batman and Stromwell to where they're going, which is the Sunrise Foundation. Sunrise Foundation is a drug clinic, a rehab facility. He takes him into a room. That's where his son is. Stromwell has made his profession selling and making and manufacturing drugs and distributing them, right? His son got addicted to the drugs that he peddles on the streets to fund his criminal empire. So he sees his son in a terrible state. His ex-wife is there. His marriage is in shambles. He reluctantly agrees to help Batman figure out what's going on, but it's all a ruse. He grabs a gun off the wall, turns it on the Dark Knight, and just then, Rupert Thorne and his men show up. They show up, they throw a tear gas canister into the room, filling it with smoke. Batman's there trying to help Stromwell still, even though he still hasn't come around. And then Rupert's men bust in, a big fight ensues, and it's Batman to the rescue, right? Then Stromwell escapes, and as he escapes, he goes into the exact same subway where the train car almost hit him when he was a kid, throwing him back into another flashback where we see the rest of the story. So as he's about to get hit by the second one, his brother comes and knocks him out of the way, and then boom, he's gone. Did he die? What's going on here? Stromwell sitting there calling out for his brother Michael. And then the priest shows up and says, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here to help you. Batman, meanwhile, is taking out all of Rupert Thorne's goons that are trying to stop this nice conversation between brothers that's about to be had. And Stromwell and his brother, they have this discussion, and he's telling them, your wife needs you. Your kids need you. This city doesn't need you. You need to be a better man. You need to do the right thing. And he's all like, why did you save me? You know I'm a lowlife. And he goes, man, everybody's worth saving, right? Stromwell gets a tear in his eye. And as Rupert Thorne is sitting there ready to attack, Batman knocks this shit out of him because what's this dude? This dude ain't the Kingpin. He may think he's a Kingpin, but he ain't the Kingpin. Batman just takes this dude out. And then the police arrives, and Stromwell has made up his mind, based on the encouragement of his brother, that he's going to try to reconnect with his family, his son, rebuild everything, and he's going to go and turn informant to Gordon and the police on Rupert Thorne and even his own organization. Batman sees this and he's happy. He's very happy about it. So it's never too late. It was a solid episode. It's a really good episode. It's a little on the nose. It's very after school special because it's like, oh, it's never too late to turn things around. Oh, drugs are bad. Look what happened to your kid. It's something that you would see on like an after school special or something, right? And I don't mean that though in a bad way because it's actually told a really, really solid story. So, excuse me. What I like about it is that this is a kid's show that, yeah, there's a message there, anti-drug, anti-crime, and all this kind of stuff, and there's a moral to the story, and it's kind of got a happy ending. But this is not the kind of stories that, like, most people would have delivered for a Batman animated series. the range of stories, the range of emotions, the range of nuance that are in these episodes is quite astounding. I loved this show back in the day, and I don't think we appreciated it back then as much as we could appreciate it now, because it's just looking back on it and seeing all the other stuff out there of the time and since. This is superb level storytelling. The art and animation is always so freaking top notch. From those title cards to the backgrounds, the color palette, everything about this just works and it soars. Yeah, that kid's eyes are too close together, but who knows? Maybe that's Jerry Seinfeld. But I really, really love the dark, moody atmosphere. It gets a little cheesy at times where it keeps replaying this one flashback over and over, and it's kind of got this like vintage sepia tone and stuff to it. But it also works, and it's a decent enough story. So it's not as strong as some of the strongest episodes of Batman the Animated Series, but it still is a really solid episode, and I would give it a 3.5 ya digs out of 5. Do y'all remember that episode? Do y'all remember the character Stromwell? I love how they are building up subplots. It's not like you have to read or watch every episode in order. And one of the things we're doing is we're not going in the release order, we're going in the production order. And there is a story unfolding, and it's not something that you have to follow episode to episode, but you do start, like just a few issues ago, or episodes, you hear about Rupert Thorne, then you got Stromwell, and they're building and setting all this stuff up. Like seeing Harvey Dent in the Poison Ivy episode or the Man-Bat episode before he becomes Two-Face, right? And we haven't even gotten to Robin yet. Robin's shown up one time, and it was in the Christmas with the Joker one, right? Was that where he had shown up? But I don't know. Still lots of cool stuff to get to. Heart of Ice is coming up in a couple of episodes, so that's going to be fun. So we're going to continue this on Rockin Robbie Live again. So this has been...
I'm looking for that man. Batman. I got a phaser, though. I like Star Trek, too.
Perry's intros are so freaking fun. Now that we're back to doing them, I'm going to have to get him to give me a few more. All right. Let's take a look at the chat. Damien, Sleepy Readers 666 says, just about everyone would benefit from reading Planetary. 100%. I think it's straight up required, necessary reading for comic book fans. William says, that was me. Well, because of you, we got Batman back. Bobby says, with bottle in hand at the microphone stand, hey, yo, homeboy, what you drinking, man? A Tom Collins. A delicious Tom Collins, too. Might I add. Hardcore Station. Stromwell's the real OG. They got the best eats at Pete's. You know it. There's a bit where after it blows up and Bullock's there with Gordon and he's all like, it's a shame. They made the best cannoli in town. And Gordon just looks at him like, you fat fuck. And that's another thing that's cool too, is like in the early episodes, Harvey is very much anti-Batman, and there's this rift between him and Gordon for it. There's like, it's so amazing. Like they all work. Like you could watch them in any order. Each episode stands on its own, right? Except for the ones that like obviously are a part of a two-part or something, right? But like they all stand on their own, but if you watch them in this order, there is like kind of a story unfolding, right? It's really fucking cool. Like in this episode, when the dude sees him, he goes, oh man, he is real. Like, because we're not at the point yet where everybody knows that Batman's fucking there. And I love the details in the piece thing, right? Because they have the little candle in the red candle holder that was in all the classy restaurants back in the day. I want to get some of those for my house. You know what I'm talking about? Those like, they'd be like red and they'd be glass, but they'd be like, they would have like, I don't know what you call it, like some kind of etching in it or something. So the light would diffuse a little bit and be very like low key. I used to love that shit. Hey, we got Dylan from Dylan's Horror Show Station. Sorry I wasn't able to make it yesterday, bruh, for Mother's Day. Hope you had a good show. It's good to see you, man. Deo is in the house. Hey. Bobby says he gives the episode 4 batarangs. Dynamite says, I'm drinking a gin martini with pickled okra. Oh, I love pickled okra. I never thought about that. I don't have any vermouth. I need to get some vermouth. I'm back on my gin kick, yo. Gin martinis, gin and tonics, and Tom Collins. Those are my go-to. No beer for the rest of the summer. Well, less. We'll see. We'll see. We're not allowed to have alcohol at the pool anyway. But it's easier to have a beer at the pool than to bring you one of these things. Call station. But I love pickled okra. So gin martinis, I love them. And I love them extra fucking dirty. Never thought about putting pickled okra in there. I have pickled okra in the fucking... I always have pickled okra. Pickled okra, pickled shit. I love pickled stuff. One of my favorite things. Put you in a pickle. Put you in a pickle. Datman. I feel good doing Datman Batman. What's the next episode? Let's look it up. So y'all can watch along. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, damn. The first season has 65 episodes. Second season has 20 episodes. 65 episodes were produced for season 1 because it is the minimum number of episodes necessary for a TV series to be successfully syndicated. 60 episodes were initially aired during the 1992 to 1993 television season from September 92 to May 1993. The final 5 episodes were held back until September 93. Interesting. Excuse me. All right, so we just did It's Never Too Late. The next one is I've Got Batman in My Basement. I remember that one. That's the Penguin one about the kid that has Batman's like hurt and is in the girl's basement. After that is Heart of Ice. After that will be The Cat and the Claw 2-part. Then See No Evil. Oh, okay. Beware the Gray Ghost. That's a great one. Prophecy of Doom. Feet of Clay. Great 2-parter. Joker's Favorite. Man, how far do we got to go till we get to Robin's Reckoning? Damn, that's episode 30-2. Jesus. So that was episode 12. We've done 12 of these. We should start putting them together. You know, I've been going through old Rockin Robbie lives and clipping out, you know, the old Image in the 90s, Marvel in the 90s and stuff like that. I need to be clipping out the other stuff too, like some of my Kung Fu movie reviews. And you remember when I was supposed to be going through the John Carpenter movies and I got stalled out? I got totally stalled out. But like we did the X-Men like an annotation on X-Men animation. So we went through all of season 1 of X-Men. We went through all of season 1 of Turtles. I should pull those and clip them in and just put them together. Like the whole first season of X-Men, all 10 or whatever the bits like put together. What do y'all think? Frankenfrog is drinking a gin martini, or Frankenfrog is sipping on gin and juice. Lots of gin being drank tonight. That's nice. What's gin? I usually go with Tanqueray. Today I'm actually drinking Bombay Dry London. Dynamite says, I ran out of onions one night, used the okra, never went back. I have never used the pickled onions in a martini. I've never done that. I should try that. I love olives, but I'm a big olive fan. So like I said, extra dirty for my gin martinis. And I do like them with gin. I don't like vodka martinis. I'm not a big vodka fan. Just in general. All right, so we done Batman. We did the DC sneak peek. It's time for Marvel in the 90s. But first, it's time for a break. So everybody go get you another gin and tonic or whatever the hell it is you're drinking. And hell, if you want to smoke some, let's do that too. Fucking clogged. All right, we're taking a quick break, y'all. When we come back here, it's time to go back. How far back in time? To the 90s. Well, we've already done that because we did the Batman stuff. Man, we're stuck in the 90s. Good place to be stuck at. We'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie Live.
I so hope this part doesn't go in the video where I'm just standing here staring forwards. That'd be so embarrassing.
Hey everybody, welcome back here to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Bills. We've had a great show tonight already. We did the DC sneak peek, Datman, Batman. We talked and bullshitted about Alice in Chains, X-Men 97 Episode 4, because I'm very far behind. CBC Awards open nominations start in June, so get ready for that. We went over Robbie Week and all the cool stuff. We still got the Robbie Week Haul show and tell to come, as well as going back in time to Marvel in the 90s. But first, let me encourage you to follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can also follow me on Twitter/X at the Rockin Robbie. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. You can help support the channel with Super Chat or over at patreon.com/PCP. And we have something very special for our Patreon subscribers lined up for just a couple of weeks. Let's get into it. So tomorrow night, join us here on the channel for PCP Movie Night as we talk about Risky Business as part of Crew's Choice. This is Brooks's pick, and it's got to involve Tom Cruise, so he went with Risky Business. Join me Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time over at Verno's channel, Blood Splatter Chatter, celebrating the 1-year anniversary of that channel with a horror trivia night. That's going to be super cool. And a Patreon exclusive PCP watch party, May 22nd, 8 p.m. Central Time. Join me and watch along with The Crow. That's right, I'll be watching The Crow on VHS. You can watch it however you want, but we'll watch along together and y'all can chat as I'm streaming and watching live. You will not be able to see the movie or hear it, so it's up to you to be able to watch it. But we'll hopefully be able to, everybody just kind of time. So it's a VHS, so I can't just do what I used to do on our previous watch-alongs that we done, where I would like start it and pause it and be like, all right, it started and paused, so everybody click. Can't do that with the VHS, so I'm just going to let y'all know when. All right, now the fucking Miramax logo or whatever. Yeah, it's Miramax, yeah. Now the Miramax logo is popped in. So yeah, that's what we're going to be watching. The Crow. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and I never would have considered myself a fan of the movie, but I am a big fan of the comic book. The original series from James O'Barr. Big fan of that one. Oh, these Tom Collins are so good. Once again, get you a glass, fill it with ice. Put a shot of gin in there, right? Then put like a half a shot of lemon juice in there. Then put like a quarter of a shot of simple syrup, right? Then you fill the glass up with club soda and you mix it together. Got to mix it and get it to fizz up, right? Then you add in 2 maraschino cherries, and then you add in a slice of orange, navel orange in particular. And then what I like to do is drizzle a little bit of that maraschino cherry juice in the bottom to give us this like beautiful kind of color gradation right there. You go and you buy a Tom Collins out at most bars, and it's going to suck because it's going to be Tom Collins mix. Don't use Tom Collins mix. It sucks. It's not good. It's too lemony. At least for me, I like mine a little bit drier, a little bit crisper. I like the way that orange cuts in. Now, the first time I ever ordered a Tom Collins was in my early 20s. I went to this movie theater that had a bar, and we were trying to order drinks. Like, we're new to it, right? So, like, the first time I ever went to a bar, I ordered a martini because I'd never had a martini, right? Because all I'd had was, like, wine coolers and beer and Zimas, So, but, like, we were out this one night. We were trying things. We're like, I ordered a Manhattan for the first time, and I hated it. I did not like it. I like Manhattans now. I ordered an old-fashioned. Hated it, I like them now. But I ordered a Tom Collins, and I got this delicious thing that is the orange. It was the cherry. It was the gin. It was everything, right? And then every other bar I go to, they make it with the fucking mix, and it sucks. And I guess just the one bartender that did it right in town's gone, or I don't know where to get a good fucking Tom Collins, so I just learned to make them myself. So there you go. If you put a pickled onion into a martini, it becomes a Gibson. Really? You're right. The Gibson is the martini's savory cousin. It uses a pickled onion in place of the typical olive to add an umami undertone to the classic drink. Huh. I'm going to have to get me some vermouth and some pickled onions, and we'll try that next time, maybe. Martinis are dangerous for me, though, man. I'll drink a martini like this. Oh. Let me do more. Do you read fantasy novels? If so, which series are your favorites? I'm not really a big fantasy guy, and I don't really read a lot of fantasy novels. But fantasy novel series that I have read in completion and do enjoy are two obvious ones, but it's The Dark Tower and The Chronicles of Narnia. Huge Narnia fan, and I just recently, not recently, but within the last 10 years, I've read through the Dark Tower series, and I really like it. I have read The Hobbit, but I've never read Lord of the Rings, though Brooks gifted me a 3-in-1 Lord of the Rings book years and years ago, so I need to get on that. That's one thing I wish. I wish I could have 4 more hours every day. And one of the things I would do in those 4 hours is read more novels. I know there was a stretch last year or the year before where I was reading novels. I even started keeping a novel journal because I was flying through novels like every 3 or 4 days, and then, life got really busy. But in a good way. But I do want to get back to reading more novels. I was in the middle of Grant Morrison's new book when I stopped reading too, Luda. So I was in the middle of that. I need to get back to that. Two Gun says, I don't want to miss the watch party. Well, set your calendar right now, brother. Patreon watch party, May 22nd, 8 p.m. Central Time. The Crow. Gonna be fun. Before you make that drink, make sure you get your parents' consent. CNSS84 says, there's a particular line from The Crow that always haunted me since the first time I've seen it. Mother is the word for God on the lips of children. Or it was something like that. Dang, man. Yeah, absolutely. CNSS says, brah, I grew up reading Stephen King's Dark Tower series. Holy shit. Yeah, I love the Dark Tower series. I think my favorite novel is The Wastelands, actually. Oh, and I've read the Harry Potter books. My favorite of those is Prisoner of Azkaban and The Half-Blood Prince. Those two are my favorites. And they're also my favorite movies. Prisoner of Azkaban, though, is my favorite movie, 100%. I think Half-Blood Prince is the best written of those books. But Prisoner of Azkaban is a book I like as well. So I think it's safe to say my favorite of the Harry Potter novels is Half-Blood Prince. My favorite of the Harry Potter movies is Prisoner of Azkaban. Wow, Zimas, that's more 90s than Marvel in the 90s. I know, brother. You remember when they brought him back a few years ago? I was all about it. I love Zimas, man. I love Zimas. And there was also the days of Smirnoff Ices, and Mike's Hard Lemonade. Those are the early days before we learned how to really drink. Dynamite says, I blame 007 for my love of martinis. Hella cool. I blame 007 and I blame my love of olives for my love of martinis. Like, when I found out you could do a dirty martini, and that just meant they put some fucking olive juice in the drink, changed my life. Changed my life. I also like they're really good with garlic stuffed olives or jalapeno stuffed olives. Mm-hmm. Just Some Rando says, happy belated birthday. Thanks for all the informative content. Screw the haters. Screw the haters. We don't have too many haters, but we do have some. Screw them. Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Rando. And Kelvin, what is up with a super chat? Thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, Robbie, what are some of your favorite crime comics and creators of crime comics? I had this question not too long ago because I was mentioning this book, Nowheresville, and I don't remember who did it, and I still have not found my fucking copy. I have no idea where my Nowheresville is. That's a good one. So, crime comics, here we go. Frank Miller, Sin City. Boom. Brian Michael Bendis, Jinx, Goldfish, Torso, boom. David Lapham, right? Stray Bullets, boom. Brian Azzarello, Eduardo Risso, we're talking 100 Bullets, boom. Can I get another one out? What's another? Greg Rucka, Whiteout, boom. There you go. Those are some of my favorite crime comics and some of my favorite creators of crime comics. Thank you so much for the super chat, Kelvin. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Kelvin, for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. It's nice to get the Hellboy song going. CNSS says, yep, I love that crazy riddle. Hungry train in the wastelands. Blame the pain, right? Blame the train, blame the pain. In the wastelands. My favorite was Wizard and Glass, though. The next one where Roland and Susanna's story gets told. Wizard and Glass is a good one, but I remember being really fucking annoyed by the flashback. Like, this whole book's a fucking flashback, but at the same time, Wizard and Glass is really good. Wolves of the Cow is really good, too. Song of Susanna's good, too. They're all good. I love them all. I really do love the Dark Tower series. Hey, what's up, Chocos? How you doing? Hello Taco says, blue cheese olives and martinis are delicious. Are they? Okay, I'm going to have to try that one, too, then. I've never done that one, but I do like blue cheese. 9-Panel Grid says, rereading Black Sad right now, and it's some really excellent crime work. I've never read Black Sad. We stock it at my shop, and we sell it all the time. I've never read it. Another one, obviously, Ed Brubaker. Anything he does with, like, Michael Lark or Sean Phillips. Scene of the Crime, Criminal, Fatale, which is a little Lovecraftian as well. Yeah. My girlfriend used to put cherry Jolly Ranchers in her Zima. Hell yeah. Damien wants to know, have I done the birthday haul yet? No. We're doing that right after Marvel in the 90s, which we're about to start here. In fact, it's time to go back. How far back in time? To the 90s. To a simpler time filled with complexity. It's time for Marvel in the 90s. Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and today we're talking about Avengers #1 from Rob Liefeld and others. That's right, everybody. We are continuing our look at the Heroes Reborn titles. We've gone through Fantastic Four by Jim Lee. We did Rob Liefeld's Captain America. We did Will Sportasio on Iron Man. And now we got Chap Yape, Jim Valentino, and Rob Liefeld doing Avengers. This was a rough one. This was really rough. I enjoyed the Fantastic Four one. I enjoyed Captain America. Iron Man was a little bit of a step down. This is more of a step down. This was a difficult comic to read. This comic, not very good. It's misguided. It's clunky. It's not good. It's just not. We've been going through the Heroes Reborn stuff. I've gone through the history of it. Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, they get brought into Marvel to take over 4 of their core books: Avengers, Captain America, Fantastic Four, and Iron Man. And man, this book, this is the worst of them. This is by far the worst of them. Let's crack it open. Let's get into it. Let's figure out why. So the first half of this book, the first 19 pages, the artwork is by Chap Yape. Then Rob Liefeld comes in. The script is done by Jim Valentino. The story and plot by Rob Liefeld. And it is clunky. First of all, it makes this weird choice. Unlike any of the other Heroes Reborn launches, these are supposed to be fresh starts. This immediately starts like laying in seeds of onslaught. Now, it is kind of interesting because it is Loki. Loki all of a sudden shows up. He's confused about where he is. He remembers something, but he doesn't know quite where he is. But he's on Midgard, and there is no Asgard, and the other 9 realms are not there. He's like, who's tricking me? I'm going to go find my brother or something like that. It's a decent enough page, like Chap Yape. You know, Chap Yape does what Chap Yape does. You might know him from Team Youngblood, creator of Dutch, for instance. I like his artwork enough. And there's 2 inkers on this book. It's John Sabal, who was the inker on Liefeld's Captain America, and Marlo Asquiza. And it's hard to tell who's doing what because it's just really inconsistent across the board. So Captain America has a different origin in the Heroes Reborn universe, but we still have a figure that's buried in not ice, but this time it's amber. So Don Blake and Jane Foster are archaeologists, and they discover the body of Thor in suspended animation, I guess, in some amber rock casing, right? Loki shows up there, tries to blast Thor away, but can't. There's a protective spell or something, and so Don Blake decides we need to call in that new team of heroes, the Avengers. Actually, I think it's Jane that suggests it. But so the Avengers are already formed. We get to their base. Now there are some things that are set up here that are interesting. If you look at the work that Mark Millar and Brian Hitch would do on the Ultimates a few years later, this kind of feels very familiar to like the Triskelion, for instance, the base of operations, the fact that this is run by S.H.I.E.L.D. So certain things. Now, I'm not saying that Mark Millar ripped off Rob Liefeld and Jim Valentino. I'm just saying that these are probably some of the same ideas a lot of writers and creators would have had about setting up the Avengers for the modern day. The problem is, I don't know, maybe they should have gone back and slowly formed this team. This feels the most like a normal Marvel comic from this era. Iron Man, Captain America, Fantastic Four, they all looked and felt very different. This looks and feels like a typical Marvel comic of the era. Even the lettering, the coloring's decent, actually. It's probably some of the better coloring out of these 4 books. But I don't know. So we get to Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is a little bit of a brat. Everybody has this like really rough edge to them that we would also see in the Ultimates as well. So there's Agatha Harkness. There's Scarlet Witch. She doesn't know much about her past. She's trying to learn these magical abilities that she has, but she's also a little bit of a horn dog. Always talking about the dreamy Captain America. And Loki's just kind of he's just kind of like floating around like in a non-corporeal state, spying on all of these people because he's trying to figure out who the Avengers are because he wants to get their help to free his brother and or kill his brother. We get Swordsman, a new take on the character. Cool costume, cool design. He's a little bit of a jerk. Everybody is. There's Hawkeye. We don't really see much of Hawkeye yet. Just that the idea that he has to keep in constant exercise just to try to keep up with those around him. We get introduced to the Vision, who's very simple. Doesn't have any of the nuance that the character does have in the comic book. Very simple, but this is supposed to be early days of the Avengers. Hellcat, who is a werecat, because Rob Liefeld has to do that, I guess. I mean, he did that with Feral in X-Force, so I don't know. Hellcat's a were creature here. Captain America, it's a little disjointed feeling because in the pages 2 weeks before this released, we got Captain America #1. He doesn't even put on the costume yet. Here he's already a member of the Avengers, leading the Avengers, And he's talking about it, and we have nice little flashback that kind of connects it. So there's Abe Wilson, and there's Nick Fury, and there's Master Man, and the Avengers. Now, Hawkeye has a redesign. Basically, the colors got turned to a yellow and brown, and he got a full face mask on, right? But Chap Yape is drawing him like Wolverine, and other people will do that. Rob does not do that when we get to the Rob pages, by the way. Then we get to Nick Fury arguing with Henry Gyrick. Gyrick says that the Avengers need to be controlled, they need to be stricter on them, and all this kind of stuff. Fury's telling him just to get off of his ass. Loki's still just watching everybody. They get the call to be sent on the mission that they have reason to believe that the God of Thunder is trapped in this amber casing. They're going to go investigate it. They all show up in their costumes. There's not much of a redesign on Scarlet Witch or Vision. I mean, it just kind of feels like a normal Avengers comic from the day, from the era. We get introduced to Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, so Ant-Man and Wasp, respectively, and introduced to Ultron. So Ultron's here. It's the new lab assistant to Hank Pym. He's like, oh, isn't it cute? He thinks I'm his father. He's calling Janet mother. It's creeping her out. And then the Avengers alarm, and then they have to assemble, and then we go right into the Rob Liefeld stuff. So Rob Liefeld is not the full artist on the Avengers. He is going to be focused mostly on Captain America, but we do got Chap Yape, but he does draw the second half of this book, which is also where more of the action takes place, which really suits him. So he's setting it up so that he looks really good here. Notice what I was saying. That looks more like the traditional Hawkeye mask, just a full face mask, and less full-on Wolverine. So I know a lot of people say that Rob Liefeld just took the Wolverine costume, put it on Hawkeye. Not quite. You can definitely tell the difference in the way that Chap is doing it there and the way that he's doing it there. That's Wolverine. That's not. This is way different. Like, what is going on? Where's the consistency? This book is inconsistent as hell in the story, and it just reads really bad, really clunky. I thought the Scott Lobdell script on Iron Man #1 was rough, but this Jim Valentino one is pretty rough. I like this page, though. I really like this cap. I like those. It's Kirby-esque almost with the way it's coming at us with the, I don't know, I love it. I love that swordsman right there. And I even like that Hellcat. I think that's pretty dope, right? So they get to the scene. There's Donald Blake dressed like a lab doctor or something, but he's an archaeologist, whatever. They found the hammer. There is Thor encased in this, they call it amber, but it's not colored like amber. It's colored more like ice or something, right? But they believe that this is Thor. And Cap comes up with this plan to like free Thor, and everybody's a jackass. Everybody, I mean, Vision is just a simple, like, he's very Data. He's very early Star Trek Next Generation Data. Everybody else, though, is kind of bratty and kind of like a dick, like straight up, you know? And so, I don't know, it just doesn't work. Like, they're not endearing characters. It's not cool. I really do like that image of Cap right there. But even the Liefeld stuff, not all of this looks like full Liefeld. Now, this does. This looks like Liefeld, but you'll see a few pages later on down the road where maybe a little bit less so. Then, as Thor breaks out, we get this nice double-page sideways splash. I really like this image. Hair, legs, muscles, veins. That's the 90s. Marvel in the 90s. So that's a really cool, sharp image. I really do like that. And then you start getting some bits here where, I don't know, like, I get that Joe Sabal is listed as an inker. You would think that he's inking the Liefeld pages, but it doesn't quite look the same as the Cap. Maybe it's a little bit more rushed, maybe a little bit more frantic. It's a lot more busy than the Captain America one is. Rob Liefeld states on his podcast, Robservations, that Cap is what he's proud of in particular. But when you go back and, you know, I've been pulling out the wizards from this timeline, from this time and reading them, and Rob Liefeld says in an interview that he's really focused on the Avengers and he wants the Avengers to get back to the era that he loved. Now, on his podcast, he mentions that the Avengers from like 140-ish to like 200 is his favorite era. So that's why he's playing with some of these characters. And he's trying to set it up, but it just seems like it's trying to set it all up too quick. Loki shows up, though, now that Thor is free. He tells Thor that the Avengers... Thor is a little confused, doesn't know exactly where he is or what's going on. He does seemingly remember an onslaught, he says at some point here. So Loki convinces Thor that the Avengers are the enemy. Look at the size and consistency there. Thor is huge compared to Loki. I maybe you could argue that Loki's meant to be more in the foreground, but it's still a little rough there, right? So then you get a pretty decent enough double page splash, but a very wonky Thor right there. And I know it's Rob Liefeld, but this stuff doesn't look like Rob Liefeld. I don't know. Like maybe it's just kind of, maybe he like just laid out more. Now I know that back in the day on one of his videos on Cartoonist Kayfabe, he mentioned that he always inked his faces. I would almost think that maybe this is just laid out by, like it's just layouts by Rob Liefeld and other people are finishing it. And it definitely does look like Liefeld in the faces. But some of the other stuff, like that's not Rob Liefeld. That's not a Rob Liefeld arm or Rob Liefeld marks. So I think he's laying this out. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I would like to be able to chat with him one day and learn a little bit more exactly about what went on, because this looks way different than the Captain America. So the Avengers are fighting Thor here. This goes on for a minute until they realize that Loki is actually the culprit, because Captain America saves Thor. Thor realizes what's going on. He starts remembering. He picks up the hammer, and then whisked away Loki is by a backfiring spell. And it's Scarlet Witch's doing. This book it's just not very good. It's all right. Then we get to this kind of brief ending right here where Swordsman and dick-ass Hawkeye are ready to like go at Thor, but even though Captain America is very uncomfortable with the notion that Thor claims he's a god, and he thinks that he's a psychotic person, right? And he says it's better just to play along. But he says, I remember an onslaught, a great reckoning, and sacrifice, but the details are not clear. Why is this leaning so heavy into Onslaught if this is supposed to be a new #1? It doesn't, I mean, it introduces the characters, but it doesn't really let us like them or get into them at all. I mean, I like some of the art here on Thor, but Cap just offers Thor a role in the Avengers. He says yes, they're all happy, hunky-dory. There you go, big cheesy splash there where everybody's just cheering and celebrating. And then we get this little epilogue bit where Loki wakes up in some kind of weird space, some limbo space, and it turns out Enchantress is there wanting to team up with Loki to fight Thor, but her interest is not the Avengers, but the young sortress, she who art mine daughter. That's some really rough dialogue. Now, I know that the Asgardians, we like to do the thous and these and all that stuff, but Jim Valentino does not have a good handle on it. It is, thou misunderstands me, my lord. It's so weird. Look at them legs for days. That's a really great Rob Liefeld face, though. That's probably the best piece of art in this, is that page, close up on the Enchantress. She reveals that Scarlet Witch is her daughter. That's the book. This book it sucks. I mean, it's I don't want to just shit on it. This book sucks. This is not a good comic. It is all over the place. It is muddy. It's got some moments that stand out, like when Thor awakens and some of the battle stuff. But Liefeld, I mean, some of this just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel like Liefeld. It feels like there's other cooks in the kitchen. Maybe he's just doing layouts. Maybe he's rushing through. There are moments that do look very much like Liefeld, mostly in the faces. But like, I don't know. It's even for a Rob Liefeld fan, this is hard to stomach. And the script is really bad. The book is boring. It's kind of just all over the place, and it doesn't do what the Fantastic Four #1 and the Captain America #1 do, which is take a familiar concept, change it a little bit, but make it modern and fresh and current. Iron Man was a little bit clunky. It was a little hard to get into. Avengers is even worse. Like, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad comics. This is really bad. This is the worst out of the Heroes Reborn #1s by far. But I'm still down to go through more of these. So we went through the first month of Heroes Reborn. If you want month 2, let me know in the comments, because I would love to do it. Pull out the issue 2s and keep treading through. Even the Avengers, I guess. Whew, man, this is rough. And a lot of, by the way, here's another thing. I always forget that Jim Valentino was the scripter here. So it wasn't just that Image guys, Jim Lee, and Rob Liefeld and Will Spertasio went over. Jim Valentino went over as well, too. So just imagine all the talk amongst the Image founders at this time and all the allegiances. But the comic book industry is collapsing at this moment. And so that's why they did this. That's why they had Liefeld relaunch the Avengers. And for the most part, the sales were there at first. This was a strong selling. In fact, Rob Liefeld's very proud of this, and I would be if I was responsible for it. This is the biggest, highest selling Avengers comic of all time. Even with them being huge billionaire movie stars now, this is still it. It wasn't the Bendis stuff. It wasn't anything. It's in one of the worst years of comics. Avengers #1 sold the most it ever did on the power of Rob Liefeld's name and the intriguing nature of the Heroes Reborn franchise. But this is a rough one. It's a rough one. Didn't feel like it got the memo. Didn't feel like it nailed the assignment. Felt too much like what the Avengers comics already felt like at the time. It doesn't differentiate itself enough. Everybody's jerks. And it's just okay. It's not okay. It's bad. It's a bad comic. All right, anyway, what are your recollections of Heroes Reborn, of the Avengers, of this work? Do you want to see me go into month 2? Let me know. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and join us over at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading, y'all. Station. In the 90s. Y'all, that was so I recorded all of the #1 Heroes Reborns on one day. Like, it was a Sunday where we took off of Rockin Robbie Live, and I spent that whole Sunday, most of the day, just doing these 4 videos, right? And man, I start with Fantastic Four #1, and I'm like, fuck yeah, this is exciting. I get to Captain America, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is exciting. I get to Iron Man, I'm like, all right. And then I do Avengers, and it's already the end of a long day. And then I get to the Avengers, and man, you can tell in that video that I was just like, look, y'all, this book is not good. Oh, don't worry. Issue 2 does it get better? Issue 2's got Kang. Does it get better? Kang get any worse? Hey, we got Kit Cloud Kicker in the house. That is the best-selling Avengers of all time. It outsold Hickman's Avengers. Yeah, more people were buying comics back then too. Chap went on to animation. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe in 2002, and the Batman, the etc. Yeah, and Ben 10. Ben 10 was a big thing when we had Joe Casey on the channel. He explained that Ben 10 was the co-creator. Ben 10, Chap worked on Ben 10, but he didn't know Chap at the time. And it was funny because later on, like now, he's doing a Dutch series because he has the rights, and Chap owns those rights. Rough. Hey, what's up, Lev? William says, if they're a feet, then there's someone else. Hey, a feet comment about a Rob Liefeld book. Thor was blinded, but then he saw. Picked up the hammer and he saw. Lev says, when did this style of over-the-top art from the 90s die out, such as what I'm seeing from this book? Elements of it never died out. Elements of it are still there. Strong elements, actually, that still should be here in the comic book industry are here. But this is pretty much it. Like, it's around this time. This is 1996. So we still had a couple more years of some of this stuff, but it was definitely kind of dead and done by the early 2000s. Brian Hitch on Ultimates, John Cassidy on Planetary, Brian Hitch on The Authority, bringing more of a cinematic, realistic approach. That's what kind of dominated comics in the 2000s. So yeah, I would definitely say that by the year 2000, it was kind of over. But it still exists in some kind of way, mostly in bad girl books and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with the 90s style. The problem is the book was clunky as fuck. The book was bad. The book was not good. Comic I'm working on right now is very 90s. 9-Panel Grid says, goes to show the highest grossing doesn't equal best ever. That's true. Bobby says, that book sold the most. That's crazy. It was the lesser selling, though, of all 4 of those Heroes Reborn books. Dynamite says, awesome, love the honesty. Well, of course. Gotta have the honesty. Otherwise, why the fuck would anybody ever listen? Robbie, why does every story have to start with good versus evil, hero versus villain? Well, because that's just how stories usually are. You got to have a conflict. You know, conflict's kind of important to a story. I mean, what do we want a story with just a dude just like waking up, going to work, having an okay day at work, coming home, eating dinner, kissing the wife and kids goodbye, and going to sleep? Do we want that story? If you do, go for it. Wonder how quickly the sales in those books dropped off in later issues. That is something that we start exploring. We have numbers for these issues. So on the issue 2 rounds, because I've done issue 2 already. The issue 2s are done. So we did go ahead and do issue 2, month 2. But month 2 numbers dropped. But they were still incredibly fucking strong compared to where these books were previously and compared to books today. Any updates in your comic? No updates. We're really, I don't know if we're going to be able to get that ash can made in time for Heroes Con. I don't know. If so, we need to get that shit done now. And I guess this week me and Kevin got to talk. This last week I actually didn't talk to Kevin. Kevin's on another project though, and that's been kind of hindering things. But right now the problem is that the book's not fully lettered. It's just 12 pages, but it's not lettered, and I can't do it. So Kevin's been trying to do it, but he's working on another book right now. So I was like, well, we don't need to have dialogue in the ash can, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Bobby says, the dude just waking up and going to work. If you want that story, read Ice Cream Man. Well, but there's more to that, at least. But yeah, comic books, it's superheroes, supervillains. So yeah, good versus evil. It's kind of a big part of it, right? All right. It's time for show and tell. I had a lot of great gifts sent to me from members of the PCP Army, the Excitable PCP crew, and some of my closest people in my life. All right, so let's go through the birthday haul. First up, some action figures. Got a few action figures. Now, some of this stuff I may have shown last week, a couple of these things, but we're just going to go right through. J Strick hooked me up with the long box heroes of the regular Madman. Now, long box heroes is a really cool lineup of like independent comic book characters. You got Madman, The Tick, Rocketeer, The Goon, Grendel, Casey Hack from Hack Slash. You've got Black Phantom, Mr. Monster, Airboy, Barry, Sub-Zero Trooper, Hellfire Trooper, Oblivion Trooper, Onslaught Trooper, Badlands Trooper. I don't know what those are from. Different versions of Tick and Madman. And they're made to go right along with the DC Superpowers action figures. So I really want to open this and put them next to my Superpowers figures, but I really also just love that card. So I'm not going to open them yet. But I really also want to get that Grendel figure right there. And maybe even the other two Madmans, to be honest. Tick wouldn't be too bad either. Those are some cool figures. But yeah, got that cool Madman figure right there. So heck yeah. This is what Brooks got me. Brooks got me this Donkey Kong action figure. From Nintendo, officially licensed. Looks like they did a Diddy as well. Donkey Kong Country is one of my favorite games, as well as Donkey Kong 64. As much people talk shit about that game, I do love that game. Brooks knows I love Donkey Kong, so he got me a Donkey Kong action figure. That's cool because a few years ago, he got me a Mario and a Luigi. You know, even though it's your birthday, you got to treat yourself. So I bought myself a Transformer that I needed and wanted. I bought myself Dirge. I missed out on the Dirge and Ramjet 2-pack that came out a while ago. It got really expensive on the aftermarket. So I picked me up the new re-release of Dirge, and there are rumors that Ramjet's on the way. I do have a G2 Ramjet, but I want a G1 Ramjet. All right, last action figure. Our boy Jelani, call him the Rev, good old Jab, got me this Ratchet action figure. We just opened up an Ironhide not too long ago on the channel. It's pretty much the same figure. But Ratchet is important to have in any G1 Transformers collection. So there you go. Clothing. I got a t-shirt from Jamie and Clayton. Pretty dope. I'm going to wear it on my appearance on Blood Splatter Chatter for his 1-year anniversary. But it's a kid putting on the Silver Shamrock pumpkin mask, and behind him is a bunch of other masks like Donnie Darko, Sam from Trick or Treat, Michael Myers. There's a Jason somewhere down there. There's Jason. There's Leatherface. So, pretty cool shirt. Definitely something to wear during horror movie streams. Everything else, they're Blu-rays. What's the best-selling book right now? What are the numbers? They don't share numbers anymore. They don't like to share numbers. So we can judge these things based on comic book, like some shops like reveal like some numbers and stuff like that. So you kind of have to piece it together. But right now it seems like it's Ultimate Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe stuff. Those are all the best-selling comics right now. Batman's been dipping. All right. Blu-rays. This is from Hammer Time Wholeshoe. Got me a copy of The Others. It's actually what he got me for Christmas, but he just gave it to me. From Two Gun Pedro, we got Mother. This is a movie he wants us to cover next year for PCP Movie Night, March Madness, or maybe for DHS. And an upcoming DHS one, Strip Nude for Your Killer, which is from the director of Burial Ground. Ultra trashy fun. Sounds like my kind of movie. We shall see. All right. Some of these have notes attached to them. This is from our good buddies, Chocos26 and Mary. The note says, Alfredo loves this movie, and he wants to make sure you know it was filmed in Mexico. We love you, Robbie. Happy birthday from Alfredo, Mary, Selena, Diego, Nico the dog, and Robbie the cat. That's right. These lovely individuals have named their cat after me. And they sent me a copy of Total Recall. It's a 4K. It also comes with the Blu-ray. I don't have a 4K player yet, so I pick these up when I can. So thank you so much. Total Recall is one I've been wanting to cover on the channel. And when you send me a movie, it's pretty much guaranteed to show up here on the channel for a PCP movie night at some point. All right. This note said, Happy Rockin' Birthday, Robbie. From M. So I don't know who this is from, but the movie is M. M is a Fritz Lang movie, the guy that did Metropolis. This has got, what's his name? Rob Lorre, right? Pete Lorre. Why did I say Rob Lorre? It's Pete Lorre. Yeah, Peter Lorre. I haven't seen this movie in years, but I watched this movie all the time. I used to rent it on Netflix constantly back in the DVD in the mail. So having the Criterion version finally of M, very, very excited. Some film noir gold right there. Peter Lorre, yeah, Peter Lorre. M is one of the best. Absolutely, Joe. M is a classic. Hell yeah. Mary, Chocos, I love y'all too. Thank you so much. That really meant a lot. I love the note too. All right, this one. Yeah. This one's note said, Happy birthday, Rockin' Robbie. You are a legend. Enjoy the film. Thank you for all the great content over the years. From Peter D. So, Peter, thank you so much. The Phantom of the Opera, the original Lon Chaney silent. This is from the Kino Classics line. And what I love about this is it's a 2-disc set. And on the first set, it's got music composed and performed by the Alloy Orchestra. It also has the theater organ score arranged and performed by Gaylord Carter. It also has the music setting composed by Gabriel Thibodeau. And on disc 2, it's got the alternate 1925 release version featuring a musical setting arranged and performed by Frederick Hodges. It's got lengthy excerpts from the 1930s sound reissue version as well. So a very complete copy of the original Lon Chaney Sr. classic. So thank you, Peter. This one didn't come with a note, but I figured out who it was. It was our buddy from 9-Panel Grid, Easy Dick Eric, sent me the Big Lebowski. This is going on the PCP Movie Night list for 2025 January. 100% Coen Brothers classic, Big Lebowski. All right, this note said, Enjoy your gift. Happy birthday, bud. This was the first movie that started my love of vintage sci-fi and horror. Hope you dig it. From Johnny Cole. So this is from John Cole, who's one of our co-hosts over at the Dynamite Show on the Experience that I do. And this is the original Howard Hawks, The Thing from Another World. So John, I love you so much. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. All right, I mentioned that my girlfriend had set me up a bag with a different movie to reach in and pick up for every day of Robbie Week. So let's go through what the wonderful, wonderful Jamie got me. Satan's Little Helper on Blu-ray. See that, Joe? Next up, The 5 Days. It's actually The 5 Days of Milan. They just call it The 5 Days mostly now. This is an Argento film that I didn't own. Now I only need a few. I think I need 3 Argento films to have them all. But this was his only non-horror or giallo or thriller movie. The 5 Days, his attempt at historical comedy. So very excited. I also got The Stendhal Syndrome. So that was a Robbie Day gift, a Robbie Week gift. It's another Argento film. I think I just need The Card Player, Do You, like Hitchcock, and Dracula. And I'm done. I got them all. All right, next up, Witch Trap. A Linnea Quigley movie that I've never seen, or at least I don't think I've seen it. Maybe when I rewatch it, we'll see what happens, but it's Linnea Quigley. It's Vinegar Syndrome. She knows me. Next up, the Criterion Collection of David Lynch's Blue Velvet. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen this one, so I'm really excited to dive in. The Criterion version of David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch. Very, very freaking cool. See how awesome she is? And then, finally, the Criterion version of Pan's Labyrinth. Great, great cover. I had this on Blu-ray already, but I really wanted this Criterion one, and she hooked me up. So look at that. A movie for every day of Robbie Week. She's done that before, and she's just awesome because of it. All right, the last one. Happiest birthday, brother. Hope you love it. See you soon. From Nestor. So our good buddy Nestor, who I met at MegaCon 2 years ago, he was just recently in town visiting us for the Huntsville Comic Pop Culture Expo, got me this Arrow video. Enter the Video Store. Empire of Screams box set. These are some great, gnarly 80s movies. So the box set right there includes The Dungeon Master, which I've never seen, but it's got to be cheesy as hell. Then we got Dolls. I love this movie. We covered this on Dylan's Horror Show, One March Madness. Stuart Gordon Gold right there. Cellar Dweller. I love this movie as well. It's got Jeremy, what's his name? Why can I not think of his name right now? From Reanimator, From Beyond. Jeremy, somebody help me. Why am I forgetting this? I keep wanting to say Jeremy Irons and oh my God. Why am I blanking? He's got a brief role in here. Jeffrey Combs, Jeremy. Jesus, that's why I couldn't think of it. Jeffrey Combs. Anyway, so Cellar Dweller, pretty wild. Then we got Arena, another one I've never seen. I've never seen Arena. And then the reason to get this box set. I finally have an English version on Blu-ray of Robot Jox. Stuart Gordon, fucking classic movie. I love it, love it, love it. Two Gun Pedro, Robot Jox for PCP movie night? Probably 100% going to do all of these movies at one point because I love this. And I was very, very excited. So Nestor, thank you so much. So those are that was the Robbie Week offerings. Thank you all so much. We really do appreciate it. Y'all are the best. Thank you for all the support, everything that y'all do. Here's to you, PCP Army. Y'all are the best. You're going to be watching a few movies, yeah. Movie watching is a common thing. You know, it's something I do a lot. Oh, that deserves a Hellboy song, does it? You know what? I think you're right. That does deserve a Hellboy song. This is for all of y'all. Thank you so much for the support. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had a sex with a demon. All right, I really do appreciate all the love, all the support. I hope you had a great Royal Robbie week. I hope you had a great time tonight. Now it's time for your official Final Five. All right, we're going through the Marvel Masterpieces by Joe Jesco collection. Next up, we got Sauron card 76. Interesting composition, very cool card. Sauron. Why not? He had an action figure. Then we got Spider-Man villain, the Sandman. He was actually a good guy at this time. Part of the Wild Pack. Sandman. This is a dope-ass fucking card. Sabretooth. Look at that card, y'all. Great composition with the moon and the rock and the crouching. Great detail. Looks fucking awesome. Sabretooth. Next up, a little bit of sugar from Rogue. She's got some big-ass tits, man. Jesus. How is she ever going to zip up that jacket? We get a Rogue. Look what they show as her first appearance. What is this? First cover appearance. That's right. They show the first cover appearance. Real name unrevealed at the time. Group affiliation, X-Men Blue Team. First appearance of Avengers Annual number 10, 1981. But first cover appearance is the Uncanny X-Men 171. There you go. And then this was one of my favorite cards when I was a kid because I just loved horror and I loved skulls. But the Red Skull. Pretty fucking dope, actually. But the Golden Age first appearance. All right. Punisher was our pick on round one, but beating that one would definitely be a few cards here. I know y'all expect me to pick that Rogue, but that's a little weird. The Red Skull's close, but I'm going to go card of the night with that Sabretooth right there, y'all. Frickin' dope. Joe Jesco's going to be at Heroes Con, y'all. By the way. Anyway, that has been your very own and official All right, y'all, don't forget what's coming up this week. We got Risky Business tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night for Crew's Choice. This is Brooks's pick of a Tom Cruise movie, and it's Risky Business. Very excited to have that chat. And then join me to celebrate 1 year of Blood Splatter Chatter Thursday night on Verno's channel, Blood Splatter Chatter, as we have a horror trivia night. That will be 7 p.m. Central Time. And then May 22nd, 8 p.m. Central Time, PCP Patreon exclusive watch-along party with The Crow. So you don't want to miss that. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be back throughout the week too. Marvel or Image in the 90s is going to be dropping tomorrow. We're going to be clipping out the Wildcats #3. So that drops tomorrow. We got some more top downs coming in this week. So be on the lookout for that. Weekly comic book review and wrap up. All that stuff continuing on as normal in our post-Robbie Week universe. All right, y'all. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Station, pop, pop, boom.
Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Live.
You know, it's been a while since we've opened up a NECA figure. So let's open one. I got this a while ago, and it's just been sitting here waiting. I was going to open it up during the Horror Fest era, and I never did. So let's open up this Elvira NECA figure. I got my NECAs out there in the living room. My Jasons, my Freddys, my Chucky, my Sam, my Ash, my Leatherface, my Stripe, my Gizmo, my Pinhead. What else am I got? I'm forgetting. Anyway, I got them all out there. My Ghostface. And so Elvira belongs up there with them. Oh, and all the Universal ones too. I have those. Not all of them. I still never got a Gill Man. My Creature from the Black Lagoons, they were shorted from Diamond and we never got a replacements. So I actually still need that one. So we're going to open up this Elvira. Really great packaging. Let's do it. All right. There she is. She comes with her little dagger. She comes with a chalice with some cool, like, green smoke coming out of it. She's got this skull with, like, candles. She's got two heads. One is winking and one is not. She's got one twisty tie in there. See, that's what you do. All right. There she is. She does have a cloth dress on, but it's actually not obnoxious. I don't like the cloth figures, but this is not that. This is different. She's only got the one sets of hands, but that's fine. Oh, she's got a little ring on. Pretty good likeness on the head. I had to look to see if it had nipples. It doesn't. No nipples, y'all. The fuck is wrong with me? So I will grab out her little dagger, though, because it has a little harness on her waist. The chalice and everything else is super cool, too. There's that skull. There's the other head. Winking. There's the chalice. Very cool. All right, and there's the little tiny dagger that goes right here. Oh, that's cloth too. Now she's complete. So yeah, the Elvira figure. The box says it goes the other way. The box says it goes like that. All right. Pretty freaking cool. We reviewed Mistress of the Dark for Horror Fest last year. And it was super fun. Man, she's tall as fuck, too, with that hair. She gonna look good next to the others. There she is. In all her glory. Elvira. All right. Robbie had to peek. I had to. Yeah, Elvira's milkshake does bring all the boys to the yard. A figure with a nice figure. Yeah, the foil variants come out this week for TMNT. Is she anatomically correct? I'm not going to look underneath the skirt. I already looked at her boobs. All right, y'all. We'll catch you next time. Thank you all. Hey, she comes with a base too. None of the other NECAs come with bases. So that's pretty cool. It's necessary because she's not going to stand very well. So she comes with a little base. It's good. I like that. Hell yeah.